record numbers this season to watch them. And we don't have to tell you, it's a standing room only crowd today. The Royals won only 8 of 12 games, won only 8 of 18 games, 8 and 18 in September, but won 4 of their last 5 games in October to get a little momentum coming in here. They did win 8 of 12 games against the Yankees this season, and would you believe the Royals averaged an almost incredible 7.5 runs per game against the Yankees this year, outscored the Yanks by some 33 runs in the 12-game series. The Yankees, though, were the winningest team in baseball at 103-59. They finished 3 games ahead of Baltimore. They never led by more than 9.5 in the East. They had a great September and October, though, 25-8 in those 2 months. They won 17 of their last 24 games, so they're hot coming in. Now to sing the national anthem for us here, but prior to Game 1 of this American League Championship Series, the popular recording artist, the Oak Ridge Boys.
Let's all enjoy the multi-award-winning MCA recording artists, the Oak Ridge Boys, with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Excellent rendition of the national anthem by the Oak Ridge Boys. You're watching Royals baseball on WDAF-TV, Channel 4 in Kansas City. Here's the defense that Larry Gura will have behind him today. Willie Aikens at first base. The Gold Glover, Frank White at second. He has never made an error in the playoffs. At shortstop, UL Washington. Good range, good arm. At third base, George Brett. In the outfield, the incomparable speed of Willie Wilson in left. Another Gold Glover, Amos Otis in center field. John Wathan gets the start in right field today. Darrell Porter behind the plate. And the man pitching for the Royals, Larry Gura. Gura failed 8 times in his bid to win victory number 19. Gave up 14 hits and 5 runs in his last start against Minnesota on October the 3rd. He is a former New York Yankee, won 5 straight games for him when they called him up at the tail end of the '74 season. Traded to the Royals for catcher Fran Healy in May of 1976 in one of the best deals the Royals ever made, if not the best. Larry hoping that control will be sharp today against the hard-hitting Yankees. The Yankees at no time this season lost more than 3 games in succession. The Royals had some incredible streaks of their own. Kansas City shut out only 5 times all season. It'll be the power of the Yankees against the speed of the Royals, and how pivotal the first game is, Steve. 8 times out of 11 previous championship series, the team that won the first game wound up in the World Series.
Extremely important, Denny, to get off on the right foot. A couple of keys you might look for today. The New York Yankees have, against the Kansas City Royals this year, hit .244. The Royals, on the other side of the coin, have hit .336. If the offensive statistics hold up, the Kansas City Royals can be expected to score a few runs today. The New York Yankees will have a difficult time scoring today.
All right, sit back, try to relax, and enjoy another white-knuckle playoff series between the Yanks and the Royals for the American League Championship. Here with the play-by-play, Al Wisk.
All right, Denny, the Royals hoping that the fourth time will be the charm. For 4 times in the last 5 years, they have met this team, the New York Yankees, in the American League playoffs, and we're getting all set to go for the first pitch in game number 1 with Larry Gurr on the mound, the signs coming down from Porter, Willie Randolph at the plate, and we are underway. The first pitch, a breaking ball that misses, ball 1. Randolph, 294 on the season, 7 home runs, 46 RBIs, 99 runs scored for the Yankees. He waits on the 1-0 pitch from Gurr. In there for his strike. Randolph walked 119 times this year to lead the American League. He led the Yankees in stolen bases with 30. He has not played all that well offensively in postseason play, a 189 average in the playoffs. That misses, 2-1 to count to Willie Randolph. In the World Series, a 128 average. Gurr on the mound, 2-1 to count. Randolph at the plate. It'll be Randolph, Dent, and Watson, the first 3 hitters for the Yankees here in game number 1. 2-1 offering on the way. A loop to center field. Amos Otis crowding over to the gap. Otis can't get it. It goes back to the road. It is cut off by Watson. The throw coming in there with a stand-up double is Willie Randolph.
Excellent play by Watson, Steve Busby, to get over there in time to cut that ball off before it got to the wall. If it gets to the wall, Willie Randolph, a definite bid to go 3.
One of the chances you're taking, of course, having someone that has not consistently played the outfield is a miscue on a play like this. John Watson makes a very heady play, getting to the ball in the gap. It just eludes Amos Otis' glove, and it very well could have gone to the wall. In a case like that, that's 3 bases easily and maybe 4 with the speed of Randolph.
So leadoff double by Randolph. He's over at second base. Bucky Dent at the plate, 262. The pitch, Dent gonna bunt. It's a good one, laid down. Gurr has no play at third, goes to first in time, and the sacrifice successful. So the Yankees early on getting that man to third, where they have a chance to score him with 1 out here in the third.
Number 28, Bob Watson.
Pretty good indication, Al.
Sacrifice.
Pretty good indication of what the Yankee philosophy will be here in the first inning. A power ball club bunting the man over from second to third, taking no chances. They want to get that lead run and get out in front.
The Yankees have a man in scoring position, most certainly, is Randolph, just 90 feet away. He's over at third base, and Bob Watson, a tough customer at the plate. 307, 13 home runs, 68 RBIs. Infield, they play him to pull. Outfield, rather, they play him to pull. And the pitch to Watson is bounced to the third baseman, George Brett. Randolph goes back to third. In time. So the Yankees, who had a chance to score a man on an out, and Watson hit the ball to George Brett.
Batting fourth, number 44.
And Randolph had to hold at third. Good break.
It's a big out because Watson has such good bat control and can hit the ball to the right side so well, but they get him to ground out to third, and the runner has to hold.
So for the first time in the playoffs, we see Reggie Jackson at the plate, and he is greeted by a chorus of boos here in Kansas City. 300 on the season. First time he has hit 300 in his major league career. At American League leading 41 home runs, 111 RBIs. Jackson, all or nothing at all type of hitters. Randolph down the line at third, and the first pitch is outside, ball 1. Jackson, 41 home runs as you look at Randolph, but 122 strikeouts. So he'll either cash in or strike out as he waits at the plate. The check of the runner at third and the 1-0 delivery. In there. Larry Gurr, well, the man at third with 2 outs here in the first, and he liked to strand him. Jackson, tremendous postseason hitter. He's at the plate as you see all the players right now. Randolph down the line over at third. Gurr staring darts at him as Jackson waits at home plate. 2 gone, no score here in the first. Yankees batting, 1-1 pitch. Tried to stitch the outside edge and just barely did miss. 2-1. Darrell Porter behind home plate. Steve Palermo, the young umpire, calling balls and strikes. Randolph over at third with 2 gone, and Jackson at the plate, 2-1. There you look at him. 9 home runs in the World Series. 5 home runs in the playoffs that Reggie Jackson has participated in. Jackson hitting with a man at third. 2 outs. 2-1 pitch from Gurr. Cued off here in the back to the screen, and the count goes to 2-2.
now a very important point. We can see here the first time up in the first inning of the first game of the playoffs, Larry Gurry is going right after Reggie Jackson. He does not want Reggie to get away from him this time with Eric Soderholm coming up next.
Well, the Yankees, Jackson, the only left-hand hitter in the lineup, he's at the plate. A dangerous customer in Willie Randolph over at third base. And Gurra trying to pick up that last strike here in the first to try and strand Randolph at third. 2-2 pitch. Fouled away, and the count remains 2-2. So right off the bat, in inning number one, in game number one, excitement. As you look at the defense of the Royals, Wilson, Otis, Wathan in the outfield, Brett Washington, White, Akins, and Porter behind the plate. Reggie Jackson, there's part of the big crowd, sellout obviously here in Royal Stadium, standing room only. Watching intently as the confrontation continues. Jackson at the plate, Gurra on the mound. The Yankee killer against the king of the Yankees. And the 2-2 pitch to Jackson. Swing and a fly ball hit high in the air down the line. Willie Wilson, sunglasses down to the line. He's there in foul ground and makes the grab. And Gurra gets out of the first inning. At the end of a half inning, the Yankees nothing with the Royals coming to bat. Al Wisk, Denny Treese, Steve Busby. Glad you're with us this afternoon. Game one of the playoffs. There's Watson as you look at the Yankees defensively. Bob Watson over at first base. Willie Randolph plays the keystone position. Bucky Dent is over at shortstop. And the veteran Aurelio Rodriguez with the black glove, the black hand over at third base. Lou Piniella by the fountains over in the outfield. Piniella in left. There you look at Jackson over in right field. Bobby Brown, the center fielder. Cerrone behind home plate. And Ron Guidry, 17 and 10 on the mound. Guidry, a 3.56 ERA. This is his 30th start of the season. You recall he was in the bullpen for a while this year. 8 relief appearances. Now Guidry, a superb left-hander getting set to go for the Yankees. No scores. The Yankees threatened but could not score in the first. And here's Willie Wilson at the plate. The first pitch is bounced full. It is 1 strike to Willie Wilson, who checks in at .326 on the season with 3 home runs and 49 RBIs. There you see his stats. Willie leading the American League in hits with 230, and at bats setting a new record, 705 at bats this year. Swings through that one, and it's 0-2 to Wilson. Led the league in runs scored with 133. Right-handed, 361, but finds himself behind against the blazing Cajun Ron Guidry. 0-2 the count. Outfield bunching the alleys on Wilson. Little pause in the action now as there's some difficulty in the left field corner as second base umpire Larry McCoy, I believe, yes, it's a sign that he wants lifted above the wall that juts out in the corner, the crescent of stands beyond the wall in left field. Now Guidry pumps in the 2-strike pitch. Fastball that missed. 1-2 the count. Steve, you said the key this year for Guidry has been a lack of a slider at times.
We want to notice the first pitch that he threw to Willie Wilson was a slider. It was over the plate. He has not gone to it since.
1-2 delivery off the fist, fouled back, and the count remains 1-2. Wilson, Washington, and Brett. All the Royals here in the first inning. As you look at someone settling in the area. And the big crowd on hand at Royal Stadium this afternoon. Yankees got Randolph to third in that half of the first, but could not score him. 1-2 pitch. Swinging a ground ball. Hit 2. Randolph bobbles up in the air. Flips over to first base in time. 4-3 on the putout as Willie Randolph playing hot potato, but had time to recover at second base.
Batting second, number 30,
Randolph with a 4-3 putout. As you watch it again.
There's the ball up in the strike zone. It was a fastball, and Willie is able to get on top of it, but a man throwing that hard, pretty difficult to do anything with a high fastball.
Wilson retired, 1 out here in the first. No score in the game, and UL Washington at the plate. 273, 6 home runs, 53 RBIs. UL, a 300 hitter right-handed. Switch hitter waits on Guidry in the first offering. Up high, ball 1. Guidry. In September and October, seemingly hitting his stride after being in the bullpen for about 2 or 3 weeks. Won 4 straight in September and October. So he closed out the season. 1-1 to count to UL Washington.
There's that good fastball by Ron Guidry. A fastball thrown bell high. You would think it would be a piece of cake for a hitter to hit that, but at 95 miles an hour, it's a little bit difficult.
Interesting, Guidry, as you can see him, a wiry guy, only 165 pounds, but he's able to generate the great velocity on his fastball. UL taking his time, digging in. What a story for Washington this year. Doing a great job for the Royals at shortstop. He waits on the 1-1 offering from Guidry. 2-1. George Brett on deck for the Royals. 1 out here in the first. No score in the game. Just underway. The 2-1 pitch to Washington. Flared foul out of play. The count goes to 2-2. Guidry in 1978, as you look at George Brett in the on-deck circle. Guidry in 1978, 1979, the American League earned run champion. ERA, one of the side benefits of his great talents. 2-2 pitch bounced off the plate, foul, and the count remains 2-2. Career against the Royals, Guidry 6-2, and his hallmark has been when it counts, he really can pitch. 4-0 in postseason play and a 2.17 ERA. Against the Royals this year, 2-1. With 1 out, Washington waits on the 2-2 pitch. Bounding ball hit to Rodriguez, finds it with the black glove across the diamond in time. 5-3 gets UL Washington in the ovation now building for George Brett with 2 outs here in the first.
It will be very interesting, Al, to see how Ron Guidry goes about pitching to George Brett the first time up. Very much like the matchup of Larry Gura and Reggie Jackson. The pitcher trying to establish some sort of mellow control over the hitter trying to establish his territory.
Well, George with that unbelievable 390 average. Highest since 1941 in Ted Williams when he hit 406. Brett waiting at the plate. Guidry pumps and the pitch. 1 strike to George Brett. Brett 390 with 24 home runs to lead the Royals, 118 RBIs. All of that done after May 21st when he was hitting 271. See how he makes contact, only 22 strikeouts this season. Guidry getting set to go and Brett backing out. 175 hits, 87 runs scored for George Brett. As you look at the wiry Cajun, tried to nibble at the outside edge, couldn't find it, and the count goes to 1-1. Royals have done very well against the Yankees this year, as you are well aware. 8-4 their record against New York, but you wipe the slate clean in the playoffs. 1-1 offering. Blown away, 2-1 to count.
You've got to believe, Al, that Ron Guidry is trying to establish the outside corner against George Brett and say, here I come, try and hit it.
2-1 delivery. 2-2.
Here's George going after that 2-1 pitch. It's a slider in a very good spot, and George, as you can see, is out in front.
2-2 delivery, swing and a looper, hit the right field, coming on Jackson. But going for second, here comes the ball, he's in there. George Brett taking liberties with Reggie Jackson, who put it on a hop in right field, Steve.
If you were going to find a chink in the Yankee armor, it may very well be the defensive capabilities of Reggie Jackson. George Brett challenged him the first time up, and we'll look at it again. George is running the bag here, and he never slows up, never hesitates a bit. I don't believe that George respects the defensive ability of Reggie Jackson, and he proved it to him right there. Reggie, see, is afraid of the turf, plays it on 1 bounce, and has no chance, even with his great arm, of getting George Brett at second base.
So Brett in scoring position. The Royals with their first base runner of the game. And at the plate, Hal McRae, 297, 14 home runs, 83 RBIs. The pitch on the way. Swing of the fly ball. Hit well, right center field. Jackson going back. Brown there to make the grab in deep right center to the right of the 410 marker. That That's all for the Royals, who, like the Yankees, threaten but cannot score in the first. The Royals and Yankees each threatening, but they could not score in the first. And so the Yankees will go at it again here in the second. Soderholm, Cerrone, and Lou Piniella against Larry Gura. Soderholm, in addition to those stats, playing in 95 games for the Yankees, designated hitter, and also filling in at third base. There's a strike from Gura. Nettles, of course, going out a couple of months ago with hepatitis, thought that he might be lost for the year, but just activated a few days ago. Matter of fact, a week ago, he might see action tomorrow. Swinging a hard shot, hit to UL. He picks it, guns it across the diamond in time. One away here in the second.
At age 6, number 10.
Excellent pitch that time by Larry Gura. He ran a fastball in on Eric Soderholm's fist. Even though Eric got the head of the bat out there and got good wood on it, UL Washington had him defense perfectly.
And what a great job he has done, taking the place of the man they thought irreplaceable, Thurman Munson. 1-0 the count. 30 doubles for Cerrone this year to lead the club. 70 runs scored. Cerrone hitting with one gone in the second. Gura's delivery, breaking pitch that bends low. 2-0 the count. Two men instrumental in allowing the Yankees to make that deal, giving estimates of the ability of Cerrone. Jeff Torborg looking at him defensively, and Charlie Lau saying, I think he can hit. The Yankees took a gamble, and it has paid off. 2-0 pitch in there. 2-1 the count to Cerrone. Larry Gura, the Yankee killer, 3-0 against the Yankees in 1980, including a three-hitter. He has not lost to the Yankees in over a year and a half. Swinging a drive, hit down the line in left field, hooking toward the foul pole, fair ball, and a home run for Rick Cerrone. Rick Cerrone draws first blood here in the second, as his stunned Royals crowd watching him circle the bases and coming to home plate with his 15th home run of the year. And just talking about the job he's done for the Yankees this year, he steps on home plate for the first time. 1-0 New York here in the second.
That's 12 RBIs in 12 games that Cerrone has played against the Royals this year. He was on the fencing team in college at Seton Hall, and he has really stuck it to the Royals this year. Rick Cerrone.
One of the difficult things of getting behind a hitter is not just that you might walk him, it's having to pitch from behind and throw fastballs.
And here is Lou Piniella, and he is taking a called strike one. 287, 2 home runs, 27 RBIs for Piniella, as Rick Cerrone, well, a home run to put the Yankees in front here in the second. Hit it right down the line, tucked it in the corner in left. Flared foul, and the count goes to 0-2 to Piniella. Larry Gura struck by Cerrone, and the Yankees break in front 1-0 here in the second. Lou Piniella, the ex-Royal, at the plate, behind in the count 0-2. Infield and outfield fanned out. Outfield, they shade him a bit to pull. Loops it foul, out of play, and the count remains 0-2. Piniella this year 286 against the Royals. You'll see action in left field along with Bobby Mercer. And of course, famous for his play in postseason play. Outstanding defensive plays in the 1977 and 78 World Series. 78 series, he hit safely in 6 games. Behind in the count 0-2. One gone, a run in. 1-0 New York, inning number 2. And the 2-strike pitch on the way. Down low. 1-2 the count.
Very important right now for Larry Gura, who has just given up a home run, to reestablish his control over the Yankee hitters. He's gotten ahead of Lou Piniella. He has to make sure now that he doesn't relax at all and goes right after him and makes a very good pitch to him.
Gura, stoic on the mound, now into action, and the 1-2 delivery. Inside, 2-2 the count. So Piniella, after being behind in the count, has now worked it to 2-2. Yankees picked him up as you look at the man on deck, Aurelio Rodriguez. Yankees picked him up from the Royals for Lindy McDaniel several years ago. He waits. 2-2 pitch. Breaking pitch that is hit deep to left field. Willie Wilson turning, looking back. This ball is gone. Way up in left field, as for the second time, another hitter back to back Piniella have tucked home runs into the stands in the left field corner, and the Yankees now lead it 2-0.
It must be the kiss of death, Al, because I just was mentioning that Larry Agura wanted to go right after Lou Piniella. He missed with the 1-2 pitch, which was the one he wanted to get him out with. A 2-2 pitch was a breaking ball that he let stay out over the plate. It was up in the strike zone, as you can see, and Lou Piniella got most of it. He hit it just inside the foul pole, about 10 rows up in the bleachers.
Piniella also normally gets better against a pitcher as the game goes along, Steve. He's a good adjusting hitter. He likes to follow punches, and he knows what a pitcher's going to do, and he gets better as the game goes along. If he gets much better, it's going to be trouble.
Like many of the hitters that Charlie Lau has tutored, Lou Piniella looks for patterns with a pitcher. The more times he sees a particular pitcher, especially on a given day, the better chance he feels that he has to capitalize on a pitcher's mistakes.
Well, Piniella, now activity in the bullpen for the Royals. Down the right field line, that's Rainey Martin who is throwing. The Yankee lineup, of course, stacked with right-hand hitters, with a left-hander as a starter for the Royals, Larry Gura. And another one at the plate now, Aurelio Rodriguez to the opposite field. Is it fair or foul? Fair ball. In the corner it goes, and around first goes Aurelio Rodriguez. Walking up with the ball, whirls and throws. Rodriguez's stand-up double as consecutive hits, 3 men in a row for the New York Yankees. Back-to-back home runs by Cerrone and Piniella. And now Aurelio Rodriguez with an opposite field double off of Larry Gura, who is wavering here in the second.
Very intelligent hitter, Aurelio Rodriguez. Normally a dead pull hitter, a dead fastball hitter. He knows that Larry Gura is struggling a little bit with not only his control, but his mental command of the game. He went up, and I believe he looked for one pitch that he could hit to right field.
And he took it to right field, and he's standing at second base. Gura kicks, and the pitch to Bobby Brown at the hands, ball one. Brown 260, 14 home runs, 47 RBIs as a stunned Royals crowd watching on as Larry Gura racked up for 3 hits in a row by the Yankees here in the second. 1 out, 2 runs in, Brown at the plate. And the 1-0 pitch on the way. Fastball that he couldn't find, and the count goes to 1-1. Brown, a switch hitter, who is not as good right-handed as he is left-handed. 212 right-handed, 282 left-handed. And he will strike out, 82 strikeouts this year, replacing Rupert Jones in center field. 1-1 pitch, breaking pitch out of the strike zone, 2-1 to count as he was shortening up and giving indications and trying to bunt the ball up the first baseline.
This is a situation where any opposing pitcher playing against the Yankees has to be careful. They can beat you to death in 1 inning, and this is the type of inning where you have to make sure they don't get away from you. Stop them right here. They've scored 2, no more.
Rodriguez at second, 1 out, 2-1 pitch, up high, and it's now 3-1 to Bobby Brown with the top of the order on deck and Willie Randolph. There's Rodriguez over at second base after his double at the opposite field, and Willie Randolph swinging the lead pipe in the on-deck circle behind home plate. And Larry Gura behind in the count, 3-1. Gura trying to shake himself out of it. Too much time as the Yankees' Brown steps out. Larry has not won since August 25th. Appeared to be a cinch 20-game winner for the Royals, but then things fell off the table for him. 3-1 delivery, ripped down the line, foul. Going deep into the crowd here at Royal Stadium, and the count goes to 3-2.
Again, Steve, Bobby Brown throughout his career has had trouble hitting the curveball, but Gura gets in a situation where he's got to come in with a fastball.
Exactly right, Denny. He's behind the hitter, and there again, you're not so much concerned with walking him as you are having to make a good pitch, and the hitter can sit there, and it's just like shooting ducks.
Man at second with 1 out. Bobby Brown at the plate, 2 runs in on back-to-back home runs by Cerrone and Piniella. And again, too much time. Now Darrell Porter going out to the mound. Porter will talk to Larry Gura. Rainey Martin continuing to throw in the bullpen down the right field line.
Now remember what happened back in May when Rainey Martin had to come in a pinch to replace Paul Spudorf for the game in New York. And what did Martin do? Pitch 5 2/3 innings of no-hit ball as the Royals won that night, and it was the first of a string of victories for the young right-hander Martin.
Well, Larry Gura hoping that Martin won't have to be called upon right now. There's a look at the Royal bench. A little bit quiet as the Yankees have broken in front 2-0. 3-2 pitch. Swinging a chopper, hit to the right side. There is Frank White over to Akins in time. 2 gone. Advancing to third base is the Yankees' Rodriguez. So 2 outs, 2 runs in, and the top of the order up again, and Willie Randolph. 4-3 in the put out of Bobby Brown. Randolph a double leading off in the first inning, as Larry Gura trying to get out of it with no more damage being done. He had Randolph stranded over at third base as you look at Rodriguez there now. Story of this inning, Eric Soderholm grounding out to short, then Cerrone tucked a home run in the corner and left, and Piniella did the same. Then Rodriguez an opposite field double. He's over at third with 2 gone, and Randolph at the plate. Randolph takes ball 1. Unlike the Royals, the Yankees have played well. They've had to the last month and a half of the season. September and October, 25-8. While the Royals had a troublesome September, 8-16. But they've won 4 of the last 5, as have the Yankees. Gura, a check of Rodriguez at third, the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a pop-up. Back at third base, drifting out, UL Washington to the foul line, makes the grab, and that's all for the Yanks in the second. At the end of 1.5, 2-0 New York. Well, the Royals' hopes momentarily deflated, trailing in the game now by a score of 2-0. They will send Amos Otis, John Wathan, and Willie Akins to the plate here in the second, trying to come back early on. The Royals' pattern this season has been score a lot of runs early, get in front, stay in front. If somebody gets close, then bring in Quisenberry and choke them off. So it's against the pattern to come from behind, although this is certainly a surmountable lead by the New York Yankees right now. Otis to the plate, hitting .253 with 10 home runs and 53 RBIs. Amos with a subpar year for him. Began with a ruptured tendon in the finger of his hand, and he was out for the first 3 weeks of the season. And trying to battle his way back, never really got up to the kind of season that the Royals normally expect from Amos Otis. Otis on the mound facing the blazing left-hander Ron Guidry. Guidry pumps, and the first pitch to A.O. is stroked foul down the right field line, out of play. And the 1-strike pitch. Swing the ground. Base hit for Otis. Comebacker that was hit behind Guidry, hopping over the mound and into center field, and A.O. is on to the Royals' second hit of the game.
We know that Amos was not at all satisfied with his season this year. He has a lot more pride in himself, and he wants to prove to everybody that he is the kind of ball player that Kansas City has seen for 7 years. A fastball down and out over the plate, a good pitch for Ron Guidry. Amos hit it right back up the middle.
So Otis, leadoff man on. He's over at second base. Royals trailing by 2-0 here in the second, and John Wathan at the plate. What a year he had. .305, 6 home runs, 58 RBIs. Career highs in hits with 138, in runs scored with 57, and RBIs with 58, and in home runs with 6. Number 3 average on the club. He waits on Guidry and takes ball 1. John looking for his first playoff hit. He has seen action in the 3 prior playoffs that the Royals have participated in. Checking signs with Gordy McKenzie, third base coach for the Royals. Yankees set for 2 on the diamond. Guidry going over to first base, and Amos back. That's Bob Watson, the first baseman for the Yankees. Another toss over to first base, and Amos back again. Ron Guidry, pencil thin left-hander. Otis is off. There'll be no balls. Stolen base.
Now, as we talked about on the pregame show, one of the things that Ron Guidry and the rest of the New York pitchers are going to have to be cognizant of is the speed of the Kansas City Royals. Amos Otis, one of those speed burners, got an excellent lead and an excellent jump off of a left-hander. Stole second with no throw.
Stole second off the left-hander, as you said, and not the catcher, Cerrone, who's got a great arm. He just said, I'm not going to throw that ball. Amos has it stolen. Well, the Royals have a man in scoring position, trailing 2-0 in the game, and Wathan at the plate. Guidry sets, and the 2-0 pitch on the way. Way outside, 3-0 the count for Wathan. Willie Akins kneeling on deck. Otis at second. Nobody out. 3-0 pitch to Wathan. A strike poured down the middle of the plate. Well, Ron Guidry, he has had a couple of men in scoring position in the first 2 innings now. Yankees in front on back-to-back home runs. 3-1 delivery. Inside, ball 4, the big walks. So the Royals now at their best threat of this young game. First 2 men on in the second. And Willie Aikens to the plate, hitting .278. 20 home runs, 98 RBIs. There's Big Will, the gentle giant from Seneca, South Carolina, stalking at home plate as the Royals have the tying run over at first base. And Ron Guidry pacing around at the mound, a little bit nervous now with 2 men on. There you see the base runners, Otis over at second base and John Wathan over at first. Outfield deep on Aikens. Left-handed to left-hander. The first pitch channeled in for a call, strike 1.
This is the point in the game where Ron Guidry must reestablish his control of the game. He was upset, I'm sure, by Amos Otis' steal of second base with no throw. He ended up walking John Wathan on the 3-1 pitch. He has to calm himself down, get it going again, and go after Willie Aikens.
Palermo getting Aikens to stand in the batter's box as you look at Otis over at second base, off to his later foot on the carpet. Wathan the same over at first base. Infield remains set for 2, just off the edge. 1-1 to count. Aikens, who of course was named because of postseason play. October 14th, his birthday, 1954. Named Willie Mays Aikens after the doctor that delivered him was impressed by the catch that Mays made off of Vic Wertz. Breaking pitch that just did miss. 2-1 to count. Aikens, 20 home runs, 98 RBIs. Desperately wanted to hit the century mark, but just missed by 2. 14 game-winning RBIs this year. Jackson deep and right. There are the runners. Otis at second. Wathan over at first. Nobody gone here in the second. The 2-1 pitch off the fist. Line foul down the left field line out of play, and the count goes to 2-2.
Very important pitch for Ron Guidry and a very important pitch for Willie Aikens. A 2-1 pitch. Willie, I'm sure, was looking for a fastball. Ron put it in a good spot, and Willie could just barely foul it off to the left side.
So Aikens tied up now. It's 2-2. 2 men on, nobody gone. Guidry poised, ready to go. Otis off to his lead at second. Wathan over at first. 2-2 pitch. Missed. 3-2 the count to Willie Aikens. Darrell Porter on deck. Darrell swinging a bat in the on-deck circle. He waits, watching Aikens, and the 3-2 pitch. Check swing foul behind home plate. 3-2.
Something important there. Willie Aikens has to be looking for a fastball off of Ron Guidry. It throws very hard. You can't look for a breaking ball. Guidry telling you something about his respect for Aikens. Threw him a 3-2 slider.
So the count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Guidry poised, set, 3-2 pitch. Got him with a cold strike 3. Big strikeout for Ron Guidry as he fans Willie Aikens looking.
Came right back with the breaking ball again. Here you'll see it. A 3-2 pitch. He has just fouled off a breaking ball. Willie has to be looking fastball and takes a 3-2 slider in a perfect spot on the outside corner.
So the first out for the Royals here in the second. As Guidry allowed the first 2 men to get on. Otis on the single, a steal, a second. Wathan over at first base in the walk. Aikens strikes out, and now Darrell Porter, who's been struggling lately. He's at the plate. Had a home run against Guidry earlier this year, but that was long ago. He waits. Swing and a miss on the first pitch. 1 strike to Darrell Porter. Porter, 249, 7 home runs, 51 RBIs. One strike pitch. 0-2 the count to Porter as Guidry blew it by him.
Good high fastball. Probably the most difficult pitch in baseball for most hitters to handle is a good high fastball that from someone like Ron Guidry that throws the ball hard.
So Guidry now ahead in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Darrell Porter, who was hit .097 in September and October, he waits at the plate. Amos Otis off to his lead at second. 2-strike pitch. Check swing foul, and Porter stays there 0-2. The end of the season in marked contrast to the beginning of the season for Darrell Porter. As you look at Guidry on the mound, Porter in May, after coming back after the late start, 314, 26 RBIs in that month. Things have quieted down lately. He waits. 2-strike pitch missed, 1-2. Porter has been a producer in the playoffs. 345 his playoff average. Guidry, a backward glance, and the 1-2 offering. Off the end of the bat, behind shortstop, coming on, Piniella makes the grab! Lou Piniella injured himself, looks like he's got a bum knee now, but he grabbed the ball, a dying quail in left field to make a big play here in the second.
Piniella, a very underrated fielder, has been throughout his career. When you need to have a big play, he'll be there to make it for you and seldom makes a mistake in the outfield, Steve.
And any ball that Lou Piniella can get to, he will catch. That is probably the most difficult play on artificial turf. The outfielders naturally play a little deeper than normal because of their fear of the ball going between them. Here's another replay now. You can see the ball is away from Darrell and he hits it off the end of the bat. Takes a full swing, but there's not quite as much depth on the ball as you would think. Lou has a long way to go, and just as he gets to the ball, it looks like his spikes may catch under him in the artificial turf. It doesn't give very much. He makes an outstanding catch.
Well, you saw just there briefly the uniform on the knee of Lou Piniella ripped off. You can see his kneecap exposed as he buried that knee into the artificial surface. And now you can see Gene Monahan, the trainer for the New York Yankees, working on the knee of Lou Piniella, who in the past has come up with some great grabs in World Series play. Comes up with a spectacular catch here in the American League playoffs for the second out of inning number 2. Piniella up on his feet, trying to walk it off and might be able to stay in the game.
Hopefully for the New York Yankees, he'll be able to stay in. He's a very important offensive and defensive factor. Here we get another look at it, and you can see him go down. His left knee hits the ground first, taking all the weight that Lou is carrying and all the momentum onto that artificial turf, which is not very forgiving to your body when you dive on it going full speed.
Piniella now, as you are back live, walking around and doesn't seem to be hobbling too badly, so he'll be able to stay in left field. So Piniella with a big defensive play. There you can see the cut open uniform by the impact of that knee being stabbed into the artificial turf here at Royal Stadium. Big play for the Yankees, heartbreaker for the Royals on the dying quail in left field by Darrell Porter. So 2 gone now, 2 men on, and Frank White at the plate, 264, 7 home runs, 60 RBIs, 70 runs scored this year. White, another one of the Royals who has played in all 3 of the prior playoffs, has 2 mates aboard. Yankees for the first time in American League playoff history with back-to-back home runs. That came in the top of this inning. Cerrone and Lou Piniella tucked 2 in the corner in left field, and that's the difference in the game. 2-0 New York. Guidry, a backward glance, the glove to the belt, a double check, pumping the pitch up high with a fastball. 1-0. Frank White said, I want to steal 30 bases, less than 10 errors, 10 or more home runs, hit 270. Did not hit any of those goals, but came darn close. Good season for him. He waits, 1-0 pitch. Can't find it, 1-1. 19 stolen bases for White, 10 errors on the button, 7 home runs, 264. Guidry, poised on the mound. Amos Otis at second base. There you see him. John Wathan over at first. 2 outs. 1-1 pitch to White. Inside, gets away off the shin guard of Cerrone. Back to the wall. The runners will move up 90 feet. Turning is Amos Otis. The ball goes in the dugout, but he's pointed back to third base by Steve Palermo, the home plate umpire.
Now here's where Ron Guidry might get himself in trouble. Now he was trying to get Frank White to go after a low breaking ball, his hard slider down and in. He bounced one in the dirt, and here we'll get another shot at it. Rick Cerrone, probably the most difficult play a catcher has to make, blocking a breaking ball that's in the dirt. You can see it almost hits the plate, comes up on Cerrone, and bounces off his chest protector into the Yankee dugout.
So, 2 men in scoring position. Tying run at second. 2 outs. 2-1 pitch to White. Swing and a fly ball hit the shadow left field. Piniella coming on again. Dent going out. It drops. 2 runs will score. The game is tied on a double by Frank White.
Here's where the catch that Lou Piniella made against Darrell Porter may have cost the Yankees 2 runs. Lou hurt his knee on that catch. You saw the torn uniform. He's a little bit wary of coming in on another one. Plus his knee is certainly sore. Now Frank White again hits the ball off the end of the bat. As you can see, it was a fastball away. He tried to pull it. It's a little dunker into left field. Lou is not quite as aggressive on that play. It's not Lou's fault, of course. He's got a sore knee. He can't get to it, and as a result, it's 2 runs for the Kansas City Royals.
So the wild pitch by Ron Guidry set it up with 2 outs. On contact, the runner's off and winging. 2 runs scored, new ball game. It's tied here in the second. Willie Wilson at the plate. Lead run at second, potentially in White. The pitch. Ball 1 to Willie Wilson. 326, 3 home runs. 49 RBIs, 79 stolen bases. And against the Yankees this year, a big average of 370. You remember a leadoff home run against Guidry in Yankee Stadium earlier this year on the first pitch of the game. 2-0 the count. So now the heat on Ron Guidry as it was on Larry Gurra earlier.
Well, you certainly don't want to get Willie Wilson on first base with Frank White on second. You have a potential second and third situation with a steal. UL Washington up next. You've got to go after Willie Wilson.
2 outs, runner at second, game tied 2-2, 2-0 pitch. Off the edge, 3-0. So Guidry has the heat on the back of his neck right now. As Willie Wilson ahead in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. Willie bounced to second his first time up, wide at second. 3-0 delivery. Notches the strike zone, 3-1. Crowd thought it was ball 4.
I think Willie Wilson thought it was ball 4 also.
We'll have to go back to the plate for another pitch. Runner at second, 2 outs, 3-1 delivery. Swung on and missed, 3-2. Wilson, 7 inside the park home runs in his career. One of them off of Guidry, as we said, on the first pitch of a game in Yankee Stadium earlier this year. 3-2 pitch with 2 outs. Flared foul into the crowd, glancing off hands like a stone off water. And the count, 3-2. Wilson with a big game against the Yankees at New York. Went 5 for 6 on July 18th in a 13-1 Royals win. They're at the end of the string right now, 3-2. Full count pitch, fouled away again. And the count remains 3-2. Against the Yankees, 370 with 15 runs scored and 20 hits. Tops on the Royals. Reggie Jackson calls him a walking double. Right now, he just wants to get on. Wide at second, 2 outs, 3-2 delivery on the way. Swinging a hard ground ball, backhanded by Rodriguez. Throws across the diamond in time, and the Yankees get out of it. But 2 runs scored by the 2-run double by Frank White. At the end of 2, the game is tied. Gurra struck for back-to-back home runs in the second. The Royals fighting back to tie in their half of the second. Dent at the plate to sacrifice his first time up, and he takes ball 1. Bucky Dent, the 1978 World Series MVP. Hit .447 with 7 RBIs in that series, and of course had the big hit in the 78 playoffs. That 1-game playoff prior to the playoffs. 3-run home run to the net in Boston. Russell Earl Bucky Dent. 2-0 to count. Swing and a fly ball hit the center field. Amos shades toward the gap in right center to haul it in. Dent flies out to straightaway center. And Bob Watson will be next.
The first baseman, Bob Watson.
Steve, we're talking about it prior to the game. You think that Watson is a very important hitter for Larry Gurra to get as the game continues?
For Larry Gurra, Bob Watson is the one power hitter that he has to be concerned about. With Reggie Jackson following Bob Watson in the order, you would not want Bob Watson to hurt you with a home run. If he came up in a situation where a home run could beat you, Larry would probably pitch around it.
Gurra has been hurt by home runs, 2 of them from the bottom half of the Yankee order. Cerrone and Pennant. Swing and a looper hit to the opposite field. Wathan is on. He'll play it on the hop. Now takes another hop. He has to whirl. It'll be a stand-up double for Watson.
One of the big problems with playing this artificial turf in the outfield, especially down either line, is what kind of a bounce the ball will take after it comes off the bat. John Wathan, even though he has played considerable amount of time in right field, still is not used to the day-to-day play. Now here you can see the ball, it's a good pitch. It's down on the outer side, on the outer half of the plate, hit right off the end of the bat. John Wathan comes in, decides that he can't get it, backs off, he wants to play it safe. The ball hits and backs up a little bit. He has to play it on the second hop, giving Watson a double.
So as was the case for Reggie Jackson earlier in the game, a bit tentative in right field. John Wathan the same. And the end result, a double. One by the Royals, now one by the Yankees. Watson standing at second and Jackson at the plate. The pitch off the outside edge. Ball 1. Jackson, 4 home runs this year against the Royals, as you see the graphic on that. An amazing .481 average with 9 RBIs. Jackson, 410 career home runs. One of the great ball players of all time. 10 straight years, 25 or more home runs. Backward glance at Watson, 1-0 delivery. Swinging a ground ball, hit to White. He vacuums the carpet. Over to first in time. Watson advancing to third. No 2 gone as Reggie Jackson grounds out to Frank White. Bob Watson now over to third. And there's a good look at Frank White looking over to third base, seeing that Watson was well on his way over there. Then the short flip to Akins. And the Yankees now with 2 gone, a man at third, and Eric Soderholm at the plate. He grounded to short in UL Washington his first time up. Gurra, a curveball that snakes across for a called strike 1. Eric Soderholm. There you see the stats against the Royals this year. Activity continuing in the bullpen for the Royals down the right field line. 1 strike pitch missed. 1-1 to count. Rainey Martin throwing here in the 3rd inning. It's all or nothing at all for both of these teams. Every game extremely important in a 5-game series. First team to win 3 takes it all and goes to the World Series. 1-1 pitch. Popped him up. Shallow right field. White going out. Wathan coming on. Wathan takes charge, makes the catch, and that's all for the Yanks in the 3rd. At the end of 2.5, game tied at 2. UL Washington with an impressive year, not only against the Yankees, but the American League. He waits in the first offering from Guidry. Tails away from him. It's 1-0. Guidry thought he was going to be able to get out of it in the 2nd, but White changed all of that. Breaking pitch, 2-0. Guidry, twice in the last couple of seasons, has gone to the bullpen. First time to help out the Yankees because of the injury to Gossage a year ago. This year to help out himself. 3-0 to count as he falls behind on UL Washington. Wavering earlier in the year. August 19th, out of the rotation, into the bullpen, 8 relief stints. Now back in the starting rotation. And starting in game number 1 as you look at George Brett on deck. 3-0 delivery. Ball 4 as he walks UL Washington on 4 straight pitches. And with the speed of UL, you know he didn't want to do that. Leadoff man on over at first base.
Now that is exactly what Ron Guidry doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to give the Royals the opportunity to exercise their speed. And of course, UL Washington is one of the speed runners.
So George Brett, in a menacing manner to home plate. George, his first time up with a double. Brett, infield set for 2, and there you see how he devastated the Yankees this year with that .425 average, 4 home runs and 22 RBIs against the Yankees. Now Palermo, who's being very finicky about where the Royals hitters are standing. First of all, Willie Aikens, and now George Brett traces out that back line, and George puts his foot right in the trough. He waits, it resets, and goes over to first base, and Duel back in time. Brett, 4 home runs against the Yankees, one of them off of Guidry. Again, to first base goes Ron. Got him picked off, laying the wrong way. Watson goes down to second. The tag put on by Bucky Dent. It'll go 1-3-6. Caught stealing on UL Washington, and that hurt.
This is one of those plays where UL Washington was guessing. Here we take another look at it. UL was trying to move on the first motion by Ron Guidry. He picked the wrong one. Guidry went over to first base, and UL Washington was a dead duck.
So the bases swept clean by the pickoff of Ron Guidry, and now George Brett, who had a chance to do some damage with a man on, must do it by himself. And he takes ball 1. Brett at .390 average, the highest in the American League in, well, since 1941. Swing and a miss, and the count 1-1. Led the majors in hitting with the .390 average, led the American League slugging percentage .664, on base percentage .461. 1-1 pitch. 2-1 on a slider. George has hit safely in 13 of 15 American League playoff games. Guidry a deep sigh and a 2-1 pitch. 2-2 the count. Brett, the best against the best. The Blazer on the mound in Guidry, and the man who makes contact more than any other in Major League Baseball at the plate in George Brett. And the 2-2 pitch now on the way. Breaking pitch that missed. 3-2. George 118 RBIs in 117 games. One of the few players to do that in Major League history. Hoping to be productive in postseason play in 1980. 3-2 pitch. Ball 4, he walked. So, the third walk of the game by Guidry. He walked Washington, then picked him off. He walks Brett. A man on with a man out. Hal McRae to the plate. You're watching Royals baseball on WDAF TV, Channel 4 in Kansas City. Yanks 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors. Royals 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors. McRae flat out deep to right center his first time up. Fastball riding out of the strike zone, 1-0. And now Cerrone going out to talk to Ron Guidry.
That's 4 straight pitches that Ron Guidry has thrown up in the strike zone. You saw George talking to Rick Cerrone about the 2-1 pitch that he swung and missed. It was a hanging slider. Ron has not been able to get the ball down the strike zone, and I'm sure Hal McRae is making note of that. He wants to make Ron Guidry throw the ball down in the strike zone, make it a strike before he swings.
Guidry over to first base, and George back in time. Royals have Brett on with 1 out here in the 3rd. Game tied at 2. Both teams doing their scoring in the 2nd and rolling a deuce. 1-0 pitch is high. 2-0. He's still up there.
He is. Whatever adjustment he's trying to make, he hasn't made successfully yet.
Guidry behind in the count. McRae waiting. 2-0 pitch. Swings and fouls it back to the screen. 2-1.
Hal looking for the fastball, waiting for it, had a real good swing at that pitch. That may have been up a little bit also.
And activity in the bullpen. The right-hander Ron Davis, the left-hander Tom Underwood. They are throwing beyond the fence in left field. So the Yankees have men up and working early, as was the case for the Royals with Rainey Martin. 2-2 the count to Hal McRae. There's George Brett along with Bob Watson over at first base with 1 out. Infield set for 2 for the Yanks. Yankees 2 home runs in the second. Royals 2 runs scored in the second. Game tied 2-2. We're in inning number 3 in what has been already an exciting game number 1 of the playoffs. 2-2 pitch. He struck him out. Guidry getting set to run off the mound. Thought it was at number 3. A little lapse in concentration and a bit of embarrassment right now. He's got 1 more to go.
This isn't an important game at all. There's no reason to get upset about it. It's only the first game of the playoffs, and who really cares? Al McRae got the pitch that he probably was looking for, 2-2. The good slider down and in. But Guidry was able to execute very, very well. Excellent pitch. Just a fantastic slider right down and in. Hal swung over the top of it.
Now the ball thrown behind Guidry by Steve Palermo. Everything's going wrong for Ron right now. First of all, getting set to run off the mound, thinking there were 3 outs, and then Palermo just throws the ball, tries to throw it back to him, but throws it by him. He's got it now. Notice at the plate, singled his first time up, came around to score the Royals' first run of the game in the second. 2 outs. Brett over at first base. Otis waits. 1-0 the count to Amos Otis. Outfield, they bunch Otis in the alleys. Pinello off the line in left. Jackson the same in right. Brown straight away center field. Throw over to first base. And Brett on the bag. Both starting pitchers have wavered in the early going, but have kept it at 2-2. 1-0 delivery is hit down the line. Pinello, who is off the line, won't get it. It bounces into the stands. It'll be a ground rule double, and that means that George Brett will have to go back to third base.
There's where the artificial turf goes against the Royals, because in many ballparks that ball would not have bounced that high, would not have gotten out for the ground rule double, and George Brett was a cinch to score had it not gone into the stand.
You're exactly right, Denny. On a play like this with 2 outs, George Brett is going on the crack of the bat. Here's the pitch. It's a fastball up in the strike zone. Amos Otis gets on top of the ball and lifts it into the left field corner. George is running hard all the way, and without this ball bounding into the stands, here's George going around third. There's no doubt about it. He would have scored standing up, and you never know what's going to happen down in that corner with the bounce off the wall.
Jimmy Fry going out, and I think he is trying to get the umpires to say, hey, he would have scored.
There is a very minor, or in this case a major technicality, but it's a very small part of the rule. If in the judgments of the umpires, the ball was interfered with by a fan instead of going into the stands,
that's the loophole.
That is a completely different situation. A ball going into the stands, there is no doubt what has to be done. 2 bases for all the runners. But with the ball going above the fence here, if a fan touches it, and in the umpire's judgment it would not have gone into the stands, then it's up to the umpire as to how far he believes the runner would have gotten.
Well, that was a case where it most certainly bounced into the stands, and Jim Fry in a valiant argument, but no grounds for the argument really, all looking at it objectively, because that was the correct call by the umpires. It was not fan interference, it was a ground rule double. So George over at third base. Amos Otis, who is 2 for 2 now, he's over at second base, and John Wathan will be given an intentional pass as they're going to bypass the right-hand hitter and go to the left-hander, Willie Aikens. So Guidry, moving by Wathan on the intentional pass, will go to Willie Aikens.
Dick Hauser simply going with the odds here, Al. Willie Aikens is batting only .199 against left-handed pitching this year, but Steve, I recall a game in Minnesota earlier this year when Jerry Kuzman, a pretty good left-hander, was pitching for the Twins and striking out 15 Royals that night. He got the right-handed batter, Hal McRae, 4 straight times, but Willie Aikens repped him up for a couple of doubles and almost tore Kuzman's head off with a vicious line drive.
The last 2 months of the season, Willie Aikens has been a very, very hot hitter. The month of September, he was the Royals Player of the Month. He has carried the ball club on several occasions the last 2 months, and he is very capable in this situation of getting to Ron Guidry.
So the gauntlet has been thrown by Hauser. Let's see what Aikens does with the bases loaded and the game tied here in the third. As Steve said, Willie, a hot September, 337, 6 home runs and 20 RBIs. He waits, Guidry winds, and the first pitch to Aikens. Blown away, stopped by Cerrone on the breaking pitch, bending into the dirt. It's 1-0 to Willie Aikens. Aikens at the plate with the bases filled with Royals. George Brett over at third base. Otis at second. Wathan at first as Gedry winds in the 1-0 pitch. 2-0 the count to Aikens. There's no more room, and Gedry knows it. In game number 1. A deep sigh by Ron. And the 2-0 pitch to Aikens. Got a strike. 2-1. Shadows now striving to creep across the field. Aikens waiting on the 2-1 delivery. It's low. 3-1. Gedry now 1 pitch away from walking in a run. 3-1. The count to Willie Aikens. Brett at third. Otis over at second. Wathan at first. Bases filled. 2 outs. 3-1 the count. Crowd revving up. Game tied. 3-1 pitch. Line drive to the opposite field. Base hit. Brett will score. Otis rounding third. Otis will score. Into third. It's Wathan. The Royals lead here in the third. 4-2.
Willie Aikens getting a fastball in the inside part of the plate, having an inside-out swing and just shoveled it into left field, something Willie Aikens may not have done the first part of the season. He's a hot hitter, and when a hitter of his ability is that hot, here we have a second look at it. You have to be careful. There's a ball that Willie hits to left field. Hit it very well at Lou Piniella. When the ball is relayed into Bucky Dent, the cutoff man, no one was telling Bucky what to do with it. He more or less stood there and looked around. He may have had a play on John Wathan going into third base, but no one was telling him what to do with the ball.
So the Royals get the opposite field base hit by Willie Aikens. 2 men on, 2 out, swing and a chopper, hit to Randolph, plays on the kangaroo hop, over to first base, the Royals called in the third, but 2 runs scored at the end of 3, they lead it 4-2. The Royals with 4 runs, 5 hits, and no errors. The Yankees with 2 runs, 5 hits, and no errors. We go to the 4th, and Denny.
Thanks, Al. The first 2 men that Larry Gura must face here in the 4th are the 2 guys that touched him up for back-to-back homers in the 2nd inning, Rick Cerrone and then Lou Piniella. Aurelio Rodriguez to follow. Larry Gura gave up a leadoff double back in the 1st inning to Willie Randolph, then got out of that inning unscathed. Gave up the back-to-back boomers to Cerrone and Piniella in the 2nd. That's the only damage done against him so far. Cerrone, the good fastball hitter, lifts this one high to right. John Wathan over in the corner to make the play. The Duke came out early yesterday for the workout and spent some time down in that corner playing caroms and trying to get used to the sun. There is the 32-year-old Larry Gura finishing up his 10th season in the major league. In '76, after the Royals got him from the New York Yankees, he was 4-0 for Kansas City that year with a 2.30 earned run average, but lost to the Yankees in the playoffs. He's out in front of them today, 4-2, with 1 out in the top half of the 4th inning. First pitch to Piniella misses. Lou Piniella, a remarkably good hitter, consistently good hitter. Over the years, a lifetime average over 12 seasons of .290. 2-0 the count on him now. Get this, Lou Piniella's career playoff average is .286. His career World Series average, .286. His average against Kansas City this year, .286. His average this season, .287. Down too low, 3-0. Lou Piniella is the kind of hitter you do not want to go 3-0 against. Larry turned over the fastball that time, tried to ride it away from Piniella on 3-0, and lost him. First walk given up by Larry Gura today.
That was a case, I think, Denny, of Larry getting behind and trying twice unsuccessfully to make a good pitch to Lou Piniella.
Here is Aurelio Rodriguez, never known for his fielding, or rather for his hitting, but for his fielding throughout his career, but he doubled to right field off Gura his first time up in this one. Gura trying to keep the ball away from him. If you get it inside, to Rodriguez. He loves to pull the inside pitches. Aurelio Rodriguez, in 9 seasons with the Tigers, only once hit over 260. He's got a teammate at first now with 1 out here in the top half of the 4th inning. Royals lead it 4-2. Rodriguez trying to hold up on the breaking pitch, a called strike, 1-1. Piniella not a threat to steal at first. And the 1-1 pitch, line to center field. Back goes Amos Otis on a dead run. He's there in time to make the play.
That just shows you the ability of Aurelio Rodriguez. Larry Gura on 1-1 pitch threw him a breaking ball that he waited on and hit the dead center field and hit it very well. He had just taken a similar pitch for a strike.
Bobby Brown, the hitter now. Bobby grounded out in the 2nd inning with a Yankee in scoring position, and he has not hit well in the clutch this year. Bobby Brown, despite his 14 homers and 47 RBIs, has hit only .214 with men in scoring position. A Yankee at first right now, and Gura deals to Bobby Brown. Clip that outside corner with a curveball.
Good breaking ball, and that's what Larry Gura feels he must do against the right-handed hitters particularly.
Gura with a long look in at his catcher, Darrell Porter. There's Piniella at first. Brown had a notion, held up. 1-1 the count. 2 Yankees gone here in the top of the 4th. Perfect baseball day in Kansas City. Now the 1-1. Bobby Brown went around. Steve Palermo asked for no help on that one. He made the call himself. Home plate umpire Palermo. A ball and 2 strikes now to Bobby Brown. See if Gura will come back with a good curveball here. Came with some heat. Brown fouled it back. When Billy Martin was the manager of the Yankees, he said Bobby Brown had all the tools to be a great player, but simply could not hit a curveball. And he didn't think Brown would ever be able to. This year, Brown has hit 14 homers, and some have come off the curveball. Fouled back again.
Had a very good swing at that breaking ball. It was a very good pitch from Larry Gura down and on the outside part of the plate. That just shows you the increase in confidence that Bobby Brown has going out after that curveball.
Lou Piniella on at first by way of a walk. Gura ready to work 1-2 now to Bobby Brown. Almost nailed it.
Bobby Brown down on his hands and knees kind of looks out to Larry Gura to say, hey, what kind of a pitch was that? You were supposed to throw me breaking balls.
Jim Fry, the 49-year-old first-year skipper of the Royals, out now to talk to his veteran left-hander Gura. Unusual circumstance. As a matter of fact, it has never happened before in the American League Championship Series to have 2 first-year managers matching wits. Dick Hauser and Jim Fry here today doing just that. All deuces on the scoreboard now. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. There is Dick Hauser. He's a fiery little infielder, played some here in Kansas City in his career. Trying to back him off the plate again, and 3-2 the count now. Outfield shading Bobby Brown just slightly around toward right. The payoff pitch. Runner going, hitting the air to center field. Plenty of room for Amos Otis. And that'll do it for the Yankees. half the fourth. No runs, no hits, no errors. One left on the walk to Pennant after 3.5. Kansas City 4, the Yankees 2. The Royals have seen the last of Ron Guidry for today. The little left-hander gets an early shower, and coming on to pitch for the Yankees in the bottom half of the fourth inning, long, lanky right-hander Ron Davis. Brings with him a 9-3 record, a 2.95 earned run average, and 7 saves. Nothing wrong with that record. You'll recall he was sensational in his first year with the Yanks last year, 14-2, great winning percentage a year ago. Now 9-3 this season. And he finished up very strong for the Yanks this year, 4-0 in September. Didn't allow an earned run in the first 20 innings that he worked in the month of September.
Ron Davis is a big man, and he throws, as you can see, almost sidearm. Makes it very uncomfortable for the right-handed hitters. Very few of them want to stay in there, and it makes the breaking ball that he throws that much better.
First man he'll face is Kansas City's own Frank White. Frank with a 2-run double back in the second inning. That, by the way, was his 6th double against the Yankees this season. In too tight. Frank White with a .357 average against the Pinstripers this year. He hit a bases-loaded triple that knocked Guidry out in the second inning of a game earlier this season. 1-1 the count now. Frank White not too happy with it. Frank making the bespectacled Ron Davis wait now. Ready to go. Again, that buggy whip motion. Fouled back 1-2. Frank White, and then the top of the order, Willie Wilson and UL Washington here in the bottom of the fourth. Royals leading 4-2. The hits are even, 5 apiece. On comes Pennant. He'll not get there in time. Base hit for Frank White, his second of the game. The Royals get the lead runner on here in the fourth.
Against a man like Ron Davis throwing out there, a hitter almost, especially a right-handed hitter, almost has to concede one part of the plate to Ron Davis. Say, all right, if you can throw the ball away to me for a strike consistently, I'll have to change. But until you do, I'm going to try to hit the ball that's inside. Exactly what Frank White did that time.
Here is Willie Wilson. He's due. 0 for 2 in the game, bounced out twice. Willie set an American League record for singles this year with 184 one-base hits. Frank White leading away from first, and the pitch to Willie. Way outside. Pretty good grab by Cerrone.
Here's another look at the pitch that Wilson faked the bunt and went after. It's a ball up and away to Willie Wilson. Every pitch now that Ron Davis has thrown has been on the third base side of home plate.
Willie Wilson earlier this season had 4 hits in Yankee Stadium to key a 14-3 win over Guidry and the Yanks. That's in for a strike, 1-1. Willie with a look down at Gordy McKenzie, the third base coach. Frank White on at first. 19 steals in the regular season for Frank. Here's the 1-1. He's going. Willie Wilson swinging to protect him, trying to hit to the opposite field. Just barely got a piece of it, foul.
Denny, that's the type of play the Royals like to use with their speed. To utilize Frank White, Willie Wilson, UL Washington, they will normally run what is called a run and hit as opposed to a hit and run. In that instance, it's left to the hitter's discretion as to whether he wants to swing at the ball or not.
Swung right through it. Willie Wilson goes down swinging. The first strikeout for Ron Davis in relief of Guidry. Here is UL Washington, the switch hitter. He'll jump over now and bat left-handed against the right-hand deliveries of Ron Davis. UL Washington's goal this year was to hit 300. He did accomplish it against left-handed pitching, exactly 300, but didn't hit as well as a left-hand batter. Line foul. The Lion on Ron Guidry, 3 innings worked, 4 runs, 5 hits, walked 4, 3 of them in 1 inning. Oldest baseball axiom in the world, walks come home to haunt you, but it's passed the test of time. They certainly do. 2 strikeouts for Guidry while he was in there. 0-1 the count now to Washington. Fastball missed away, 1-1. 1 on, 1 out for the Royals in their half the 4th, leading 4-2. Willie Aikens, 2-run single to left, has given the Royals the lead. Pitch out. White not going. He about pitched out too far. There's 2.
Little respect for the Royal speed. Give Rick Cerrone a pitch out, a pitch that he can easily handle. If Frank White's going, he'd have a better chance.
Yankees have thrown out 52% of the potential base stealers against him, as opposed to only 40% last year when Cerrone wasn't around. There goes White. The throw to second on the wrong side, and he slides in safely.
Good time for the Royals to steal after they've thrown a pitch out. You're forcing the opposing team to pitch out 2 times in a row, which usually will not happen. Frank White getting a very good jump. Here's the pitch. A pretty good pitch here for Rick Cerrone to handle. Frank White having too good a jump, beats the throw to second base.
So UL Washington now has a teammate in scoring position. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 out, and White at second base. UL Washington, 1 for 2 in the game, bounced out and walked his last time up. On the ground, through Aurelio Rodriguez. Frank White had to hold up. Now UL Washington takes a big turn at first and has to scamper back as Piniella runs the ball in. That ball appeared to be playable by Rodriguez, the third baseman, but he let it handcuff him, Steve.
The artificial turf. One of those balls, the in-between balls on the artificial turf, you don't know whether it's going to bounce up high for you or stay down low. Here we get another look at it. The ball is away on the plate, and UL goes with it very well. Sharply hit, just to Rodriguez's left. The ball stays down.
And as good as a defensive man as Rodriguez is, there's where you miss a guy like Nettles. He almost never makes a mistake like that.
Now here is George Brett, 1 for 1 officially. Double to right field back in the first inning. A bloop double. Walked his last time up. Fouls this one away. George just flat ran a single into a double back in the first inning. When the Royals first signed George Brett as a second-round draft pick back in 1971, they were actually concerned about his lack of speed. But George has proven that he can churn those very heavy, thick legs of his at a pretty good clip, and there's no more aggressive base runner in the game than George. 335 is career average against the Yankees. Davis in trouble here. Speed on the base pass, too far outside. 1-1. Frank White at third base. UL Washington at first with 1 out. George Brett hit a cool .425 against the Yankees this year. His slugging percentage against them was .900. Just missed with a fastball. 2-1. Royals now 4 runs on 7 hits and no errors. The Yankees 2 runs on 5 hits and no boo-boos. 2-1 the count to Brett. Fouled away. Outfield shading George, just slightly the other way. Here's a good look at the Yankee defense against the American League batting champion of 1980. 2-2. Hit to left field. Piniella going toward the corner. Foul ball. Ken Kaiser, the left field umpire, straddling the line, looking right down there into the corner, and called it foul.
one of the reasons, Denny, why George Brett is such a great hitter. You saw the defensive alignment. You cannot cheat on George Brett. He makes you play honestly on defense. That meaning he will hit balls down the left field line, down the right field line, in both alleys. You can't shade him one way or the other.
There is Ken Kaiser, who got in a memorable rift with Jim Fry out in California earlier this year, the former professional wrestler.
Call him the Hatchet. That was his trade name.
2-2 the count on Brett. George at his best in the playoffs, at his best with men on base. Remember those 3 memorable home runs off Catfish in '78. Here it comes 2-2. Hot shot on the ground to Randolph. Can they turn 2 to second for 1? Good relay from Dent, and they got it. A double play takes the Yankees out of a jam in the 4th. The Royals squander a couple of base hits. And at the end of 4 complete, it's Kansas City 4, the Yankees 2. Willie Randolph batted only .179 against the Royals this season. Doubled his first time up in this one and then popped to the shortstop UL Washington back in the 2nd. In for a strike. Yankees have had more than 1 hit in only 1 inning. That was the 2nd when they had 2 homers by Cerrone and Piniella and a double by Rodriguez. Breaking pitch for a strike, 0-2. Willie can expect to see a lot of breaking pitches from Gura.
Larry Gura is settling into a very good rhythm for him now. He's been able to get the breaking ball over on the first pitch to a lot of right-handers, which sets up the rest of his pitching style.
Willie Randolph, a good fastball hitter. Gura works 0-2. He nibbled at the outside corner and got it. First strikeout of the game for Larry Gura. He couldn't have made a better pitch to Willie Randolph.
Exactly what we were talking about, Denny. 2 curveballs and then a fastball on the black on the outside corner.
Bucky Dent, the batter now, laid down a sacrifice bunt in the 1st, flied to center his last time up. Again, Gura took something off and got it in for a strike. And if he can keep getting out ahead of the hitters, the Royals are in pretty good shape. Bucky Dent is one Yankee that you can take the bat out of his hands with a good fastball in tight occasionally. Let's see what Gura will do here. He fired the fastball in tight and Dent lined it to left field for a base hit.
Maybe going to the well once too often with Bucky Dent, although that's the kind of pitch on an 0-2 pitch that Larry Gura wants to make. I think he might have made a slight mistake in getting it not far enough in off the plate. 0-2, if you're going to throw a fastball inside, normally you don't want it to be a strike.
The Bull, Bob Watson, up now with Dent at first and 1 out. Most of the pitchers around the American League this year tried to get Watson out by keeping the ball in on his fists, but there's a very small margin of error there. Gura misses away. Bob Watson, in his first playoff experience, 10 full seasons with the Houston Astros. Wouldn't you know, they're in the playoffs this year. Missed away again with a breaking pitch. Bob Watson, another one of those just solid, good hitters. A career 300 hitter, as a matter of fact. Skied in the air, shallow center field. Frank White going out. Otis coming in. It's Otis calling. It makes the play.
Larry Gura making an excellent pitch, 2-0 to Bob Watson. That is the position you do not want to be in to face Bob Watson too often. Got him to go after a breaking ball, and he popped him up to shallow center.
Reggie Jackson came into these playoffs on a tear. He hit safely in his last 13 games of the regular season. He homered on his last trip here to Royal Stadium, hit one out against Dennis Leonard. 41 homers by Reggie this year, the most by a Yankee since Roger Maris hit 61 back in '61. 2 outs, 1 on for the Yankees in the 5th. First pitch to Reggie, not on by him. Jackson is 0 for 2, popped to shallow left and grounded out to second. He struck out twice against Larry Gura. The last time he faced him in Yankee Stadium, Gura has had pretty good success with Reggie. Nobody likes to pitch to this guy in October. Away again, 1-1. There's Bucky Dent at first, being held close by Willie Aikens. One and one, the count to Reggie. Good stop by Darrell Porter. Two runs on 6 hits for the Yankees now. 4 runs on 7 for the Royals.
One thing I think we're going to note, how Larry Gura is going after Reggie Jackson. And here you take a look at Reggie's big swing. He doesn't get cheated too often. Larry Gura is going with hard breaking balls and hard fastballs away. Very few times will you see him throw a very slow breaking ball to Reggie Jackson.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, Dent at first. Jackson asks for time. Reggie Jackson, a notoriously good low ball hitter. He has golfed them out of a bunch of ballparks. Gura misses away again. And the count goes full on Reggie Jackson. Reggie in his 8th American League Championship Series. No player has been in more. Gura ready to work, but Jackson steps out. Let's see what Gura goes with on 3 and 2. He got him. Jackson goes down looking. For the Yankees in the 5th, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left, and at the end of 4 1/2, we're halfway through at Royal Stadium. It's Kansas City 4, the Yankees 2. The largest crowd ever to see an American League playoff game in Kansas City, 42,598. Loyal Royal fans have turned out here today. A gorgeous day in Kansas City, 87 degrees at game time. And they have seen their Royals jump ahead here by a score of 4-2 as we move to the bottom half of the 5th inning. It'll be McRae, Otis, and Wathan for the Royals. Hal McRae 0 for 2, flied to right and struck out.
Leading off for the Royals, the designated hitter, Hal
McRae was the Royals' hottest hitter the last few games of the season. As a matter of fact, he hit home runs in each of the last 3 games of the regular season. One of them was a mammoth shot to right field, and he began this game with a long fly ball to right. Ron Davis pitching into the shadows now.
One thing we may see, Denny, is, as you mentioned, the shadows creeping from home plate out toward the pitcher's mound. You may see a few more breaking balls thrown by both pitchers, because the pitcher throwing from the sunlight into the shadow, the hitter almost loses the ball about halfway to the plate.
Here's the 0-1 to McRae. Caught the outside corner, strike 2. Al McRae, a .433 hitter against the Yankees this year. McRae has been outstanding in the playoffs before. Great 1977 playoffs. .444 his average then. 3 doubles in that series against the Yankees. 8 for 18. Hal is one Royal who has had World Series experience. Hit .450 in the World Series for Cincinnati. was in a couple as a member of the Cincinnati Reds. Waiting to hit next, Amos Otis will be looking for his 3rd hit of the day. Two and two now to McCray. Fouled away. Royals scored 2 in the second. Amos Otis led off with a single to center, stole a base. John Wathan walked. Frank White doubled him home. And then in the 3rd, the Royals struck twice more. A walk to George Brett, a double by Amos Otis, and a 2-run single by Aikens. Al McCray goes down swinging. The 2nd time today he's been fanned. That'll bring up Amos Otis. That was the 2nd strikeout for Ron Davis in relief of Ron Guidry today. Amos Otis with a single to center in the 2nd, a double to left back in the 3rd. Foul back. Yankees know very well the potential of Amos Otis. He hit .429 against them and stole 4 bases in the 1978 playoffs. Another money player. Again fouled. In game 2 tomorrow night, it'll be Dennis Leonard against Rudy May, the crafty southpaw of the Yankees. A ball and 2 strikes now to Amos Otis. The shadows extending now almost to the base of the pitching mound. You can watch Rick Cerrone hang the sign here to Ronnie Davis. Amos Otis steps out. What's he calling for, Steve?
Looks like he motioned for a fastball inside, and Ron Davis either didn't want the pitch or a little bit confused about the sign.
Davis cranks it up now, 1-2. In the air, down the right field line, curving foul. It'll be back into the seats. Reggie Jackson gave it a good run over there, went all the way to the base of the wall.
Reggie must have had one of his passes over there he wanted to stop by and say hello to.
There's Reggie retreating to his position now. In the air, in the alley in right center, but room. Reggie Jackson there to make the catch. Two down for the Royals in the 5th, and John Wathan the batter. He has yet to hit officially today. Up twice and walked twice. Consistency was John's calling card this year. You know his average never dropped below the 300 mark all season. In too tight. Wathan still looking for his first playoff hit. 0 for 9 in 6 previous playoff games. Again came tight with the fastball and missed. 2-0. Notched the inside corner there. Dick Hauser and his brain trust there in the dugout. Clyde King, advanced scout there, in too tight.
Since, well, he's been with the Royals the last half of the season. Shows you the kind of effort that goes into preparing for the playoffs, and he is next to Hauser at Torborg the entire game. Tell him how these Royals hit.
John Wathen has just walked for the third straight time today. That's the first walk issued by Ron Davis. And here's Willie Aikens, who drove in 2 runs to put the Royals in front back in the third. Well, he was a strikeout victim his first time up. Got revenge against Guidry with a 2-run single in the third. The Yankees have also had Bob Lemon and Jerry Walker scouting just about every game that the Royals have played here at the tail end of the season.
Really amazing, because the preparation, normally a team will, maybe the last month of the season, they'll start covering a team that they might face in the play. The Yankees have been doing it for 3 months. It's astounding. But it all comes down to what you do on the field. Doesn't matter how many advanced scouts you have, as long as you can perform on the field, you can defeat them.
1 on, 2 out for the Royals in the 5th. First pitch to Willie. In for a strike. "20 of Willie's 98 RBIs came in the month of September." Token toss over to first there to keep John Wathen's mind on the game. Missed away, 1-1. John Wathen with 17 stolen bases this year.
As big as John is, you wouldn't expect him to be able to run, and a catcher at that, but he can get it moving.
Right back to the box. The comebacker glove by Davis, and that's all for the Royals in the 5th. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left on the walk to Wathen. We've gone through 5 full in Kansas City. It's the Royals 4, the Yankees 2. Eric Soderholm leading off against Gura here in the 6th frame of this one, with the Royals leading 4-2. In for a strike with the breaking pitch. Gura jumps out ahead again. Soderholm has changed his approach to hitting some since he has come under the influence of batting instructor Charlie Lau, Steve.
Yes, he has. He's a much more disciplined, patient hitter. He's changed his physical approach to it quite significantly. He used to be just a pull hitter and kind of sit back on his back leg and try to pull everything. Now he's worked with the weight shift, and he's going into the pitch more, trying to hit it to left center field, to right center field, have the capability of moving it around.
Lura cranks it up in the 1-1. Too high. Mentioning the physical side of it, there are a few better conditioned athletes than Eric Soderholm. He had to be to come back from knee surgery. He has extremely strong legs, and he has written a book about the conditioning of a baseball player. Here's the 2-1 pitch to him. Just missed the outside corner, 3-1. Yankees took the lead early in this one in the 2nd inning on back-to-back home runs by Cerrone and Piniella. Royals tied it in their half the 2nd on a 2-run double by Frank White. On the ground in the hole, tough play for Washington off his glove. It'll be a base hit.
The catcher, Rick Cerrone.
Difficult play for UL Washington. Probably the most difficult play a shortstop has to make. Going far to his right, having to backhand the ball and try to stop your momentum and direct it toward first base. Very difficult play, and the ball was hit very hard.
So with 1 on and none out for the Yankees now in the 6th, here is Rick Cerrone. The solo homer to left his first time up, fly to right back in the 4th. In for a strike. Cerrone coming over in the deal with Toronto. Blue Jays have given up some good catchers in the past. First Ashby and then Cerrone. But Cerrone has always had some success against the Royals. Got his first major league hit against Paul Splittorff, as a matter of fact. That was when he was with the Cleveland Indians back in '75. Soderholm at first base. Down too low. The hits are even now at 7 apiece, but the Royals lead 4-2. Rini Martin working again in the Royals bullpen. Two and one now to Cerrone. Who would have predicted this year began, Steve, that Rick Cerrone would be second to Reggie Jackson on the Yanks in RBIs?
I don't think he has ever been in a position with any of the ball clubs that he was playing every single day. And of course, when you play every day, you are able to define your talents a little more.
You just saw Ken Brett get up to join Martin, the Royals bullpen. Excellent backhand stab by Brett. He got the lead man to throw it. But Brett gets the job done with a backhand stab and the throw to second to nab the lead runner. You're watching Royals baseball at its best on WDAF TV, Channel 4 in Kansas City.
What a play that was by George Brett. And it's amazing. George is always highly touted for his offensive ability, but there you saw a play. Here we'll take another look at it. George using some of his outstanding defense ability. And it's amazing that he can not only make this catch, but turn around and make a very accurate throw to second base to Frank White and almost turn a double play.
He made a play like that last week where he speared a ball going down the line, Stephen, just like a quarterback throwing a jump pass. He went high into the air, turned his body in midair, and made a perfect throw to second for a force. You wouldn't have seen that any better done anywhere.
I don't think so. George can literally do it all.
Here's Lou Piniella, 1 for 1 officially, a home run. Missed down and away. Piniella walked his last time up. The only free pass issued by Gura today. In for a strike. Gura on the season walked only 76 men in 283 and a third innings pitched. He'll make you beat him. One on, one out, 1-1 the count to Lou Piniella. Line down the left field side foul. 1-2 the count on him now. Foul down the right side.
Larry Gura changing speeds very effectively on Lou Piniella, trying to induce Lou to hit a ground ball somewhere in the infield. Of course, Lou not very fast of foot, the ideal hitter to have in a double play situation.
A ball and 2 strikes on him as Gura appears in at catcher Darrell Porter. The shadows now have extended beyond the back of the pitcher's mound. Outfield, as you can see, pretty much straight away on Lou Piniella. Two balls and 2 strikes now as the count evens on the veteran from Tampa, Florida, 37 years old, Lou Piniella. Been a good hitter for a long time. Hit .312 for the Royals back in '72. Got him swinging inside fastball, or was it the slider?
I believe that was a slider. He threw it down and into Lou, and Lou swung over the top of it. The difficult thing when you work someone outside, and are able to throw a breaking ball down and in, pretty tough to adjust to it. As good a hitter as Lou is, he was not able to adjust to the perfect execution by Larry Gura.
Dandy pitch for the Guru. 2 down now, and it's Aurelio Rodriguez, the hitter. Rodriguez with a double, his first time up, and then flied to center back in the 4th. Even with 2 outs, George Brett playing even with the bag at third. That's because Rodriguez is a very good bunter. On the ground, UL Washington with the flip to White for the force, and that's all for the Yankees in their half to 6. They've gone through 5 1/2, and the Royals still lead it 4-2. Darrell felt late in the year on a trip to Minnesota that he kind of got his batting rhythm back in sync and was very happy with the way that he hit the ball in batting practice there, and right on through to this very moment. He still thinks he's got it back together again.
Well, you notice one thing, Denny, in facing a right-hander, Darrell will not open his stance nearly as much as he does against a left-hander. When you have two different stances, you have more of a chance for your rhythm to be wrong.
Here's the 0-1 pitch from Ron Davis. On the ground, Bucky Dent, who led the American League shortstops in fielding this year, does the honors, and there's one down quickly.
Darrell Porter that time getting a fastball away and hitting it on the nose, but also on the ground right at Bucky Dent.
Frank White, the batter, with a 2-run double in the second, and a single in the fourth. 2 for 2 today, along with a stolen base for Frank, who grew up just a block away from the old Municipal Stadium here in Kansas City. Signed at a tryout camp and became a product of the Royals Baseball Academy. One low, the count to him. High pop, shading the eyes. Rodriguez at third. 2 down.
Left fielder, Willie Wilson.
Willie Wilson still looking for his 3rd hit. Has bounced out twice and struck out. One thing the Yankees most wanted to do today was keep Willie Wilson off the base paths. They have accomplished that. He stole 5 bases in one game against them this year, had a 5-hit game against them, a 4-hit game. But the damage done toward the bottom of the order today. 2-run single by Willie Aikens, a 2-run double by Frank White. 1-1 the count here to Willie Wilson. Strike on the outside edge. The Royals have seen some smoke today. First, Ron Guidry throwing that usual Louisiana lightning of his, and now Ron Davis, and he's pumping it pretty good, Stu.
Ron Davis can get it up to the plate very, very quickly. He doesn't give you too much chance to adjust to the pitch.
Here's the 2-2 to Willie. Line foul. Keep your eye on the ball at all times.
Yes, sir. A dangerous foul ball right there off the bat of Willie Wilson. Tough way to get a souvenir.
Again, the 2-2 pitch. Fouled straight back. Over the mound, gloved by Randolph, and his throw gets him. A superb play by Willie Randolph. You won't see many better. The Royals are out quickly in the 6th. After 6 full in Kansas City, the Royals 4, the Yankees 2. Bobby Brown to lead it off for the Yankees here in the 7th, and back to the microphone, Al Risk.
Bear in mind how important it is to win the first game of the playoff series, the short series, possibly 3 to 5 games. The team that has won the first game has won the series 8 of 12 times. The Royals trying to nail down a win as Gurl winds, and the pitch to Brown is ball 1. Quisenberry is throwing in the bullpen beyond the right field fence. The Royals have had a man throwing in almost every inning, as Jim Fry taking no chances. Larry Gurr, in the meantime, has held the Yankees to 2 runs. Change. 1-1 the count. Brown has bounced to second. He is flied out to center field. Larry Gurra's toughest inning, the second when he allowed back-to-back home runs, but he has not allowed a run since that time. The 1-1 pitch on the way, swinging a fly ball, hit to right field, backing up is Walton, still backing up to the track. He makes the catch. Almost got away from him. The Royal fans holding their breath momentarily, but the Duke was able to get back to grab it.
Bobby Brown getting a fastball up and out over the plate, being an excellent fastball hitter, drove that ball to right field, very, very deep. John Wathan was able to go back and make a good play on it at the track.
Bear in mind also that the New York Yankees may be the most dangerous comeback team in Major League Baseball today. They have 20 wins this season in their last at-bat. So they are a force to be reckoned with, particularly in the later innings. Gurra will try to hold him in check. Ball 1 to Willie Randolph. Randolph hitting with 1 out here in the 7th. Bucky Dent is the man on deck. Randolph with a leadoff double back in the first, but he has been held hitless since that time. Larry Gurra looking for his first win since August 25th. There's a strike, 1-1. Gurra, who has struggled the last month and a half, back in the groove at least through the first 6 innings against a team that he has killed throughout his career since coming to the Kansas City Royals from New York. Fouled back, 1-2 the count. He has the edge on Randolph. 7-1 is the lifetime record of Larry Gurra against the New York Yankees. A 2.47 ERA. He has not lost to New York since May 2nd, 1978. One-two pitch on the way to Randolph. Breaking pitch, that just did miss. 2-2 to count. Royals with 42,598 watching today along with their dugout. This is the largest crowd not only in Royals playoff history but in Royals Stadium history. 2-2 pitch. Breaking pitch that snake low and inside. 3-2 to count. Picture perfect conditions at Royal Stadium today. 87 degrees at game time. Not a cloud to be found in the sky. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a pop-up to shallow center field. Amos in the bright sunlight coming in, calling, and he makes the catch. Gurra has retired the first 2 men that he's faced here in the 7th. And he's taken care of the last 5 Yankees that have come to the plate. And now it's Bucky Dent, 1 for 3 to check that 1 for 2 this afternoon. Dent with a sacrifice his first time up, then he flied out to center field and the single. Outfield, medium depth, fanned out against Dent. The shadows creeping across the Royal Stadium turf. Gurra winds and the pitch. A strike.
This is the man, Al, that Larry Gurra really wants to get to end this inning. If you can get the number 2 man, Bob Watson will lead off the next inning with no one on base. A home run will, if that happens, will just bring the game back with a 1-run lead.
1 strike pitch. Hit up the middle, by wide into center field for a skipping base hit. So that was not to be as Bucky Dent with his second single of the afternoon. 2 outs, a man on and Bob Watson to the plate. And again, Steve, Watson is a guy that you said that Larry Gurra has got to be very careful with.
He's got to be. In this situation, Bob, with his strength and his knowledge, one swing of the bat can tie the game up. You would much rather in a situation like this pitch around Bob, be very careful to him and take your chances with Reggie Jackson.
Well, we're heading down to the wire. 7th inning, Royal Stadium, first game, American League Playoffs, 1980 edition. Watson at the plate, Dent over at first base. Royals leading by 2 runs, 4-2. The pitch, breaking pitch high and away. 1-0 the count. Quisenberry continues to throw in the bullpen as you watch number 44, Reggie Jackson, squeezing the handle of that bat in the on-deck circle. Watson waits. Gurra kicks in the 1-0 pitch. Loop to the opposite field. It'll drop for a base hit. Dent going from second to third now. Wathan up with the ball. Flips it back to the infield. Holding at first base is Watson. Runners at the corners. Tying run potentially at first base, and Reggie Jackson strides to the plate.
Bob Watson got an excellent pitch that time out over the plate. He went out and got it. They're showing you what kind of ability he has. Here we take another look at it. Fastball down, not too bad a pitch by Larry Gura, but Bob Watson, exercising some of his strength, hits the ball hard to right field. John Wathan going into the corner to cut it off and hold Watson to one base, hold Bucky Dent at third.
Well, both of the hits by Watson this afternoon taken to the opposite field, and now Conference on the mound as Jim Fry is out to talk to Larry Gura. And the conversation would be what right now, Steve Busby?
Well, Jim Fry is trying, first of all, to give Larry Gura a little break. Sometimes you can get caught up in the game too much and your concentration would break, and that's the last thing you want to have happen right now. Talking over exactly what the plans are for pitching to Reggie Jackson. This is not a time to have a breakdown in communication. You want to know what the first pitch is going to be, what the location you desire, and what you're going to try to do after that with him.
And there you see the story of the game as Quisenberry warming in the bullpen beyond the right field fence. Jim Fry has had his say. He'll go back to the dugout. Gura will stay in.
When Larry Gura first arrived at Arizona State University many years ago, Reggie Jackson was already there as the star of the team, and they've known each other for a long, long time.
Well, they meet again as Jackson at the plate in game number 1. American League playoffs, how many times have he been in this kind of situation before? He is 0 for 3 this afternoon. Runners at the corners, 2 outs, 4-2 Royals in the 7th. The first pitch misses, ball 1. Jackson has flied out to left. He has grounded out to White at second. He was called out on strikes, his last at bat. Gura checks the runner at first, the 1-0 pitch. Swung on and missed, 1-1. Bucky Dent over at third. Bob Watson over at first. Watson represents potentially the tying run. Royals have led since the third when they scored 2 runs. It is 4-2 Kansas City. Big spot right now for Larry Gura with 2 outs and 2 men on, and Jackson at the plate. There's Watson over at first base. Jackson waiting. And the 1-1 pitch on the way from Gura. Swung on and missed, 1-2. So now Gura in front. A ball and 2 strikes. Reggie Jackson, Bucky Dent, Bob Watson. The Yankees in the spotlight right now. And the man on the mound for the Royals is Gura as the crowd revs up in the 7th inning. The set and the 1-2 pitch, ground ball hit to White. He'll go to first and the inning is over. At the end of 6 1/2, it's the Royals 4, the Yankees 2. It'll be UL Washington, George Brett, and Hal McRae to the plate for the Royals in the 7th. And for all intents and purposes, 6 outs stand between the Royals and victory in game 1 as they must face the Yankees offensively just in the 8th and the 9th innings. UL Washington this afternoon as you look at a happy Royals crowd with the Royals on top by 2. UL Washington has grounded out to third. He has walked and he has lined a single to left field.
Leading off for the Royals, the shortstop, UL Washington.
Ron Davis continuing on the mound for the New York Yankees. He was the Cinderella story last year when Gossage went out after the scuffle with Cliff Johnson in the shower room of the New York Yankees. The injured hand by Gossage. It was Davis who came on and partially took over for Gossage and did a number out of the bullpen for the Yankees last year. He stitches the strike zone. 0-1 to count to UL Washington. Last year, Davis 14-2 at 2.85 ERA. As you look at the big guy on the mound, 6'4", 205 pounds. He pumps in the 1-strike pitch, swung on and missed. It's 0-2 to UL. Davis, hot at the end of the season. His last 11 games, 4-0, 1 save. And a 1.17 ERA. And there's a reminder, TV4 Action News upcoming right after the game. 2-strike pitch, down low, 1-2. Davis, number 2 man out of the bullpen to Gossage. Big fella from Houston, Texas. Into the windup. 1-2 on the way. Here's a ground ball. Hit foul, says Bill Haller, the third base umpire. UL Washington trying to tuck that ball into fair territory. Skipping by the bag over to third base, and Haller, who was right there, said foul ball. The arms upraised.
Just as UL Washington did his last time at bat, he went with the outside pitch very well, and nearly, as you say, out-tucked that in the corner for at least a double.
That's one thing we've seen this afternoon. We have seen some intelligent hitting. Players going to the opposite field, not trying to pull everything.
Both of these teams are pretty well salted with outstanding hitters, very experienced and very knowledgeable hitters that will not try to hit the ball out of the park every pitch.
Davis on the mound. Washington at the plate. A ball and 2 strikes. Nobody out here in the 7th, nobody on. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a foul back. And the count remains 1-2.
It's a great night, Al, for TV viewing on Channel 4 tonight at 7. The ever-popular Real People, and then at 8, Part 2 of Beulah Land. At 10 o'clock, the late edition of Action 4 News with Stacy and Cynthia Smith.
And of course, on the sports, ample coverage, highlights. The Kansas City Royals, New York Yankees, first game in the playoffs. 1-2 pitch, cued off the end of the bat, foul. The count remains 1-2. Well, we've seen a turnaround in this game for pitchers. What they've done the last month of the season. Gura, of course, has not been superb the last month of the season. Guidry was, and yet Gura outlasting Guidry. Guidry leaving after pitching only 3 innings. Gura still going after 7. The Royals leading 4-2 here in game 1. 1-2 pitch, swerves inside, and the count 2-2. Don't forget, 7 p.m. tomorrow on TV4, Game 2 of the playoffs, Dennis Leonard against Rudy May. Two-two pitch on the corner for a called strike 3. UL Washington knew it. About face and back to the dugout he went. For Davis, that is his 3rd strikeout. And Davis, since coming on in the 4th, was not allowed a Royal hit in the 5th, the 6th, and he gets the first man here in the 7th. So he has been effective, keeping the Royals right where they were, 2 runs in front. George Brett at the plate takes a strike. Lights have been turned on for the last couple of innings here at Royal Stadium, negating some of those shadows that have covered half the field now. 1 strike pitch is Luke foul, out of play down the left field line, and George behind in the count 0-2. Two-strike pitch outside, 1-2.
How'd you like to be a right-handed pitcher facing George Brett, knowing that the guy hit .437 this year against right-handed pitching?
Not a very comforting thought.
1-2 pitch, hit well to left center field. Brown going back, looks up, it's called! Home run, George Brett, and the Royals now back to a 3-run lead. It is 5-2 Kansas City. Fans on their feet here at Royal Stadium as George Brett has just hit his 5th home run of 1980 against the New York Yankees to the opposite alley in left center field, and there's the welcoming committee led by Jim Fry. 5-2 Royals.
Simply amazing, and here's what George has been doing for all of 1980 when he's been healthy. He gets a ball out over the plate, does not try to pull it, goes the other way, and here we have a standing ovation for George Brett.
They're calling for George to come back out of the dugout. Let's get back live and see if he does. They're stopping the game to see if George will come back out. Here he is. Curtain call for George Brett after that home run, his 25th of the year, to move the Royals lead after 5-2. Well, you saw it on the replay and then the curtain call. And that is a big hit because every run, late stage of the game, very important.
That does so many things, Al. It takes away the sacrifice. Now you have to score 3 runs to tie the ball game. It takes away the hit and run opportunity. It changes your whole offensive strategy.
So George coming through in inning number 7. And the Royals with a 3-run edge. Hal McRae at the plate, a run in, nobody on, 1 out, 1 strike to McRae. Brett. It's his 23rd RBI of the year against the New York Yankees. So just about 1/5 of his RBIs this season coming against the Yanks. 1/5 to 1/6. One strike pitch cued off the end of the bat, foul. Jose Martinez will retrieve. That gives Larry Gura a little bit more breathing room. Bear in mind, in 12 prior American League playoffs, team that won the first game won the series. Two-strike pitch outside, 1-2. Amos Otis, who's had a big afternoon on deck. 1-2 pitch, hit it on the hip. Al McRae will flip the bat away, go up the first baseline. Did you watch it again?
Al was kind of laughing a little bit. He got a big reaction from the crowd. But this is a breaking ball that he just hangs inside a little bit. He just released the ball too soon. No serious damage done. And of course, a pitch that Ron Davis did not want to make in that particular instance.
Al is known for the target that he has right there.
Fans chanting Royal Stadium for this man, number 26, Amos Otis. Let's listen. To KC, bottom of the 7th. Otis at the plate. Yanks set for 2 in the infield with 1 out. The pitch, breaking pitch that missed. 1-0. Otis, a single. A grand rule double. 2-run score. Flied out his last time up. Al McRae over at first base with Bob Watson. Royals leading by 3 in the 7th. He's off. They throw to first. They go down to second, and they got it. 1-3-6. Caught stealing, Hal McRae.
Well, the Royals aren't backing off their aggressiveness at all, Steve. Going at every opportunity.
You give the Royals an opportunity to be aggressive, and Hal McRae, George Brett, the entire crew is going to do just that. Here, Hal mistimes his break a little bit, and he pays the consequence. But you force people to make good plays.
1-0 pitch to Otis is a roller hit to Randolph. Flips to Watson. That's all for the Royals, but they get one more on Brett's home run. And at the end of 7, they lead it 5-2. So it is an even larger hurdle for the Yankees to try and clear, and Larry Gura would like to stand between them and getting back in the ball game. He'll face Soderholm, Cerrone, and Piniella in the 8th. And that 7th inning, really a big inning for him, Steve. Larry Gura.
Yes, it was, Al. It's a very important inning to get through. Not only do you only have 6 outs left, but getting Reggie Jackson to make the final out, you do not have to face Bob Watson and Reggie Jackson if you can get 3 up, 3 down innings.
Soderholm takes ball 1. Eric this afternoon is grounded to short. He's flied out to right, and he has an infield hit. The 1-0 pitch on the way. A strike, 1-1. Don't forget, tomorrow, 7 p.m. right here on TV4. Game 2 of the playoffs, Leonard against me. The 1-1 pitch to Soderholm. Swing and a fly ball hit to right center field. John Wathan into Son, waits and makes the catch. A 1 away for the Yanks in the 8th, and now the Royals 5 outs away. Here's Rick Cerrone. Cerrone, along with Lou Piniella, made American League playoff history back in the 2nd when they had back-to-back home runs. Almost to the identical spot, tucked in the corner. The crowd, the crescent of it, that is in fair territory down the left field line. That's the first time back-to-back home runs occurred in the American League playoffs. Swing and a foul away. It occurred once in the National League playoffs back in '76. Foster and Bench against the Phillies. Back-to-back. But the Royals coming back to tie in the 2nd. to go ahead by 2 runs in the third to extend to 3 runs in the seventh. Time called as Cerrone steps out. A home run, flat out deep to right, and a fielder's choice for him today. 1 strike pitch, rip, foul down the line in left field. 0-2.
Ball running in on Rick Cerrone that time, and he got the head of the bat out there and got good wood on the ball, just pulled it a little bit too much.
All you pitchers will say that's a good pitch. It was a foul ball.
Yeah, it's a strike.
Now Larry Gura now, a picture of concentration, has the edge on Cerrone. 0-2. He goes to work. The 2-strike pitch, breaking pitch that swerved around the plate. 1-2. Larry trying to go in front here in the playoffs, trying to even his playoff record at 2-2, trying to make his record 8-1 career against the Yanks. 1-2 pitch, breaking pitch, fly ball, hit to left field, playable. Willie Wilson there, pounds the glove, comes in, makes the catch. And the Royals now 4 outs away. Gura allowed a single hit in the first, 3 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 more in the fifth, 1 in the sixth, 2 in the seventh. He has the first 2 men here in the 8th. Nobody on, 2 men gone. Piniella at the plate. Piniella, a home run, a walk, and a strikeout. Great shot of Larry Gura. He had not won since August 25th, trying to break the streak in all places. The American League playoffs. Bounce foul. There's Jim Fry. Gura appeared to be a cinch for a 20-victory season. He had 18 wins on August 25th, but didn't win after that. Fry gambling, and thus far it has paid off. 1-strike pitch, down low, 1-1. We talked about that with Jim Fry in the pregame show and said it has to be a gamble for. He said, no, it's not the way he pitches against the Yankees. But you know, anytime a man has not won in a month and a half, it's a gamble to start him in the first game of the playoffs. 1-1 pitch, ground ball, hit up the middle. Duel plays it neatly over to first base in time. That's all for the Yanks in the 8th. At the end of 7.5, the Royals 5, the Yankees 2. There's part of the crowd at Royal Stadium. They're watching a new pitcher taking some tune-up tosses for the New York Yankees. Third man they've used this afternoon. Royal Maniacs, yes indeed. Royals leading 5-2 here in the 8th inning of play. Tom Underwood is on, the left-hander, 13-9 this year, a 3.66 ERA. Underwood started the year in the bullpen, then won 6 straight starts, made 26 starts back to the pen, and he is pitching out of the bullpen in this game. In his starting assignments, a couple of 4-hit shutouts to his credit. What can we expect to see from Underwood, Steve?
Underwood is the very kind of pitcher you need on a good ball club. He's a versatile pitcher. As you say, he was in the pen for a while, came out and started, went back to the bullpen. He can do almost anything you ask, very similar to Marty Patton on the Royals. Fastball, curveball, good straight change, good control.
So Underwood on, and the first man that'll face John Wathan. Wathan been on base 3 times, all on walks. Left-hander deals, ball 1. Gidry went the first 3, gave up 4 runs. Davis, the next 4, gave up a run. Larry Gura has gone 8. They've scored twice off back-to-back home runs, but that has been that. They look at Greg Nettles along with Charlie Lau in the dugout of the New York Yankees. We expect to see Nettles starting tomorrow afternoon with the right-hander Leonard on the mound. Willie Aikens on deck. Swinging a bounding ball, hit foul wide of third base. And 1-2 the count to the Duke. Well, Underwood last year 9-16 with a team not that far away from being an expansion team, Toronto Blue Jays. But a pretty good ERA for an expansion club. 3.69 his earned run average. 1-2 pitch. Up high. 2-2 the count. One thing about the Yankees and the Royals, both teams had a lot of changes since the last time that they met in the playoffs. A lot of changes. That's a mark of a good organization. 2-2 pitch, fouled away. To be able to change personnel and still win.
It's a very good point, Al. I think also when you consider they've both changed managers since then too, it has to go back to the organizational level, and it's a compliment to both organizations.
2 rookie managers in the American League playoffs for the first time in history. Swing and a foul behind home plate, and it kind of goes to 2-2.
Amazing, really, how many of the key figures in those first couple of playoff victories by the Yankees, 76 and 77, are gone. Chambliss, Munson, Rivers, Roy White, Catfish Hunter, Dick Tidrow, even Cliff Johnson, who had a pretty good playoff.
2-2 pitch on the way. He got him. Wathan strikes out. That is the first strikeout, obviously, for Tom Underwood, as the Duke fans.
Willie Egan.
Look at it, a breaking ball down and in that John couldn't hold up his swing on. Very good pitch in a very good spot.
So Underwood takes care of the first man that he faces, and now it's Willie Aikens at the plate. Willie, a key man this afternoon. A single to left field. Swing and a bounding ball foul. That was back in the third, and that put the Royals in front. So he is the man who potentially will have the game-winning RBI if the Royals hang on to the lead, and they've got one more inning to go against the Yankees offensively. Willie Aikens waiting on the 1-strike pitch, rides inside on him, 1-1. So desperately wanted to gain 100 RBIs in the regular season, but I'm sure he will certainly take 100 in the regular season and in the playoffs combined. 98 heading into the playoffs, picked up 2 this afternoon to hit the century mark unofficially. 2-1 pitch to Aikens. Breaking pitch for a strike, 2-2. Two delivery, cued off into the bat, bounce back to Underwood. He'll run half the way, flip it the rest of the way, and 2 gone for the Royals in the 8th. Looking ahead to the Yankees half of the 9th. Scheduled hitters are Rodriguez, Bobby Brown, Willie Randolph. You're thinking pinch hitters. Well, they don't have anybody except for Fred Stanley on the bench that can hit right-handed against the left-handed girl. All the rest are left-hand hitters. Breaking pitch for a strike. Mercer, Gamble, Spencer, Oates, Nettles, LeFay. 1-strike pitch, 1-1. Porter today has flied out and grounded out. Flied out the first time, grounded out the last 2 times, 0 for 3. 1-1 pitch is up high, 2-1. The Royals 3 outs away. They must face the Yankees in the 9th. 5-2, Kansas City in the 8th with 2 outs. 2-1 pitch, fouled away, 2-2 to Porter. There's a good look at the vast expanse of Royal Stadium and the beautiful job that George Toma has done preparing this park for the playoffs. Already the most picturesque park in Major League Baseball, and even brighter after George's work getting it ready for the 1980 playoffs. 2-2 pitch, ground ball hit to the shortstop Dent. Waist high, fires over to first base, off the glove of Watson, safe over at first base, Darrell Porter.
Well, that's something you won't see very often. Bob Watson, an excellent all-around ball player. The throw was not that bad. It looked like, however, that Bucky Dent may have let up on the throw a little bit. And when you do that, the ball has a tendency to sink or move away from Bob Watson. He may have just missed time closing his glove.
That's the air to Watson. Royals still alive in the 8th, leading 5-2 as you watch it again. The throw is right there by Bucky Dent, but it glances off the glove of Watson like a glass off a wet tray. Instead of being out of the inning, the Yankees and the Royals are still in it. And it's Frank White at the plate. 2 RBIs for him this afternoon. Up in the pitch, swung on and misses. He mistimed it. White today, a double in the second. Chasing two teammates home. Leadoff single in the fourth. Popped out his last time up. So Otis, Aikens, White, Brett, the offensive stars today. Staggered him with that swing, 0-2 the count.
Another look at that pitch, one down low. It's a little bit off the curveball that he threw. Frank was somewhat out in front of it. It looked like Frank was trying to hit one up on the bank somewhere.
Man on, 2 outs. Underwood ahead. 0-2. 2-strike pitch. Breaking pitch that missed. 1-2. 42,598 watching today. Underwood now backs off the rubber. Darrell Porter over at first base. One-two pitch. He struck him out. Oh, wait a minute. He fouled it at the plate and he couldn't hang on, so he'll stay alive. White got a piece of it. And so he stays alive at the plate. Check of the baseball by Steve Palermo, then a little flip. You'll see him come back into your picture now. Royals hitting with 2 outs in the 8th. Leading 5-2 in game 1. Porter at first. White at the plate. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a line drive that hits the left field. It drops for a base hit. Porter hangs on at second base. Throw coming back in from Pennant. The Royals not through yet.
After having Frank White off stride on the off-speed breaking balls and straight changeups, Underwood decided to come back with a fastball, and he paid the price. Frank White drilled the solid line drive single into left field.
And that's the top of the order for the Royals. Willie Wilson 0 for 4 this afternoon, but hopeful of changing that. He has grounded out 3 times and struck out once. Wilson hitting right-handed against Guidry, left-handed against Davis, right-handed again against Underwood. Down low, ball 1. Royals get to the power portion of their order here. They have a chance to really blow this game away. They lead by 3. Fastball that he couldn't find. 1-1 to count. Wide over at first base. Porter at second. 2 outs. 5-2 Kansas City. Last of the 8th. Swinging a fly ball, hit well to center field. Going back is Brown, still going back, looking up off the wall. Porter will score. White will score, and the Royals now lead it by a score of 7-2 in the 8th.
Oh, I don't think Bobby Brown really saw that ball all that well. He had a shot, I think, to try to get a glove on it. When you're down, as the Yankees are at this point, you might as well go ahead and make a try for it. He didn't do it.
Here's another look at it. It's a fastball out over the plate. And Bobby Brown, as you say, did not get a very good jump on the ball. Whether he might have lost it in the sun or in the crowd, we won't know. But he stopped way short of where that ball actually landed. You can see it did not hit off the fence, but it short hopped the fence. I've got to believe that with Brown's speed, if he gets a decent jump, he catches that ball.
Well, the Royals now broken this game wide open in inning number 8. UL Washington at the plate. He takes down low. They have scored off of each and every pitcher in this game. Although the runs against Underwood will be unearned. Willie Wilson over at second base after that double. Flared down the right field line. Foul and against the base of the wall. And Wilson will go back to second base. So the inning began with Watson striking out. Aikens cueing it back to the pitcher. Then Porter on a key play got on safely over at first base as Watson just had the ball glance off his glove. The throw is right there. And that opened the door, and the Royals kicked it down with a single by White and a double by Wilson. They now lead it by 5 runs heading into the 9th. 2 outs. Wilson at second. Washington at the plate. 1-1 the count. 1-1 pitch. Foul. 1-2. UL Washington is grounded out. He is walked. He is singled. Called out on strikes. There's UL with a familiar toothpick. And the Yankees, Louis Tiant and company, a bit subdued at this point. Trailing by 5 in game number 1. Don't forget Leonard and May tomorrow. 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Gets away from the catcher. Cerrone throws to first in time to complete the strikeout. That's all for the Royals, but they get 2 more. They'll head to the 9th, leading by 5, 7-2. And the New York Yankees have as their scheduled hitters Aurelio Rodriguez, Bobby Brown, and Willie Randolph here in the top of the 9th. Afternoon wearing on, shadows covering the stadium. There's defensive change now. Pete Lecoq over at first base. Clint Hurdle is in right field for the Royals. So a couple of defensive changes as they try to nail down a win in game number 1. They lead by 5, 7-2. The first pitch in for a called strike 1. Partisan Royals crowd, 42,598 strong. On a gorgeous afternoon in October. Gurra into the windup and the 1-strike delivery on the way. 1-1. Larry Gurra, who had not won since August 25th, working on a complete game victory. The 1-1 pitch to Rodriguez. Swings through it, 1-2. Rodriguez a double in 3 trips. Bobby Brown on deck. The sign from Porter. And the 1-2 pitch from Gurra. Swing and a pop-up on the infield. George Brett, spread eagle call. He makes the grab. And the Royals are now 2 outs away.
Saw something that time, Al, that Larry Gurra does very, very well, throwing a lot of breaking balls the first couple of times around to the right-handers. To Rodriguez that time, he threw a fastball by him, up and in, and then jammed him with a fastball for the out.
So Bobby Brown at the plate with 1 out here in the 9th. Brown 0 for 3 this afternoon. He's flat out twice, grounded out once. Gurra into his windup and the pitch to Brown. Fastball for a strike. Larry Gurra, 18-10 against the Yankees in his lifetime. 7-1, trying to make it 8-1. And the crowd now roaring on every pitch as he's ahead on Brown, 0-2. What a year he's had, a 1-hitter, a 3-hitter, 2 4-hitters, a 5-hitter. Gurra trying to complement it with a win here in the playoffs, and he strikes out Brown, and now the Royals are 1 out away from a victory in game number 1. 2 gone in the 9th. Willie Randolph to the plate. Larry Gurra, as you look at the Royals, remarkably subdued. They're leading by 5 runs, 7-2, but you can't keep the crowd down. 7 runs, 10 hits, and no errors for the Royals. The Yanks 2-9-1. Yankees down to their final out. Randolph, line drive, base hit, center field, so he keeps it alive. A reminder to stay tuned for Action 4 News right here on WDAF-TV, Channel 4 in Kansas City. And a reminder, we'll be back here again 7 p.m. tomorrow in Game 2 of the American League playoffs. Bucky Dent at the plate, 2 for 3 this afternoon. 2 outs in the 9th. Royals lead 7-2. Pitch to Dent. Breaking pitch outside. Ball 1. Activity in the bullpen. Quisenberry throwing just in case. Randolph at first. 2 outs. The 1-0 delivery. Low. 2-0. Over but low.
Steve, how far would manager Jim Fry go with Larry Gurra if Dent were to get on in the power portion of the Yankee lineup coming up?
I wouldn't be at all surprised, Denny, if Larry were to lose Bucky Dent. You'd see Dan Quisenberry facing Bob Watson.
3-0 the count to Dent. So he's one pitch away from doing that. Watson, who is on deck, 2 for 4, and then Jackson. Big man for him to get. 3-0 pitch, in for a strike, 3-1. Two outs. Randolph at first. Game 1 of the playoffs. Royals lead 7-2. 3-1 pitch. A strike. A high strike. Dent takes 3-2 the count. Yankees down to their final strike. Royal Stadium crowd on its feet. Gurra on the mound. Dent at the plate. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a pop-up. Behind home plate. Porter calling. He's got it. The Royals win game 1. 7-2 the final score.